professional now.
You know it's serious when Derek's the one telling us like, all right, guys, let's focus it up here. Let's
really get on,
this is not a fun
track.
episode.
This is the podcast about video games, and you guys are talking about other stuff, and I'd like to get down to business.
I don't know if I'm that excited about it because you have Psychonauts 2 as your background, and I already know Kyle likes it.
Oh
so...
boy, here we go.
we'll be talking about it. We will, but we're a
and
little
I'm sure you're gonna be talking about indies and trash.
Hey, listen, it's been a long time since we've opened a show with this topic. We're in episode 78. It is the end of August. We're about to hit September, which, in my opinion, September through December, my favorite time of year. I just love it. Everything from the season is my favorite, the sports that are on, the shows that are on, the holidays. Yeah. I just think it's the best time of year. And the sports that my kids play, it's just my favorite. So we're also getting to that football time. And back in the day, Derek and I used to, in some cases, spend probably too much time talking football. Derek, what's your excitement level for college football, especially considering the Big Ten's weird and awful season last year? Are you still big into Michigan and Big Ten, or are you just kind of in general following it? What's your deal these days?
Actually, I'm not following it at all. I don't really care. And I think a lot of it has to do with I don't expect Michigan to be good, so I don't really care. I'm tired of watching them fail.
Well, they're listening now, and they're just really sad.
Yeah,
so.
Harbaugh is a big listener of the show.
Hey, I'm going to tell you all the truth. When I was younger, I was old enough to get a boner, and Jesus. I would look at...
I mean, what age is that, though? I mean, it's not like...
Keep going.
Listen to me.
It varies.
Listen to me. This is very important.
Yeah.
I used to believe that I impacted Michigan's games, and God was in control of it. And he would look at me, and if I was like looking at porn or touching myself and stuff like that, he would punish me by punishing Michigan. This also happened. I was a basketball player, so I would have basketball games on Saturday mornings, and Friday nights I was Skinamax. So I would be, looking at bad things, and then Saturday mornings I'd go out there and shoot like 0 for 20, and I was the best player on our team, and I'd be like, God, it's because I looked at porn, isn't it? And he was like, he doesn't answer, but when you're young, you just believe that's what it is.
That's because he's up there shaking his head like, you're such an idiot. That's not how this works. But I do like that.
Well, it's funny how Derek as a kid will be thinking that, oh, God is punishing me for doing this and affecting football. But there are actual criminals doing terrible things out there, and they're fine. They're not getting caught. Fine. And, that's fine.
I don't know if you knew this, Derek, but the Michigan football team is actually aware of this. And they actually on their wall, they're like, remind Derek not to touch himself this week.
It's actually the Buckeyes who are aware of it, and they send girls my way all the time.
They're all
to make me believe that I'm really good looking, and it's really just they work for the Buckeyes.
Dude, that is one of the best conspiracy theories ever.
This is just a really interesting chapter in the book of Derek lore right now.
It really is.
I love this. So I knew it would be funny me saying that or sharing it, but at the same time, when I was younger, and most people, and there are adults who still believe this. Yes, I did believe that like the way I lived impacted things I cared about, even though it's like, the guys who are actually playing the football game and the coaches and they're the ones that actually dictate it, not some kid, not behaving correctly.
Correct. So yeah, that was all in your head. But
sports superstition, right? It's like how they don't watch certain articles of clothing or something.
I mean, it really is the same thing as any other sports superstition. You're totally right. Got to wear the jersey backwards. You got to the garage door.
You can't wash the jersey. Wash all the luck off.
Yep. You can't shave until they have their first loss. All kinds of different superstitions.
Stop looking at porn, people. That's why you're losing football games.
That's the bottom line. That's the message, really, guys. That's the message we wanted to get across and here in the current gen.
And stop playing Psychonauts 2. It's trash.
You should start playing it if you haven't yet.
You should, because I have about 20 minutes of dialogue to talk about later.
Oh, good.
Derek, I hope you lean forward and listen so hard.
Hey, Kyle, prepare for 20 minutes of Derek staring at his phone.
Yeah, that's the final 40 minutes of the episode.
Yeah, thanks for the reminder, Daniel. I just needed to make sure I had my phone on me.
Or watch him start falling asleep, with the blanket over him, just falling asleep.
Is that porn reflecting in your glasses? What is that?
I mean, I do have my laptop set up, but I actually was like, oh, maybe I'll just do the show tonight on my laptop. But then I was like, no, Dad will yell at me because I will fall asleep.
Actually, how are you feeling, by the way?
Yeah. By the way, if you guys didn't know, COVID hit our friend Derek. If you're listening, you didn't know this. So, Derek, how you doing?
I'm okay. I mean, it wrecked me a bit. Like I have a lot of achiness and like I live upstairs, so whenever I try to walk downstairs, I'm like, oh my God, I feel like I'm 90 years old. I have to go really slow. My body's really achy. Um, but like I'm not worried about anything major. Whereas I know people who, well, some that have died, but like other like major things. Even a girl I was talking to she's not unhealthy and she's probably my age. She was worried that she had pneumonia and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
there are other factors out there that could come in and mess with me. But right now, no, I'm okay. Hardest part is isolation because uh, I used to be antisocial and video games and watching sports was everything to me. Now it's not. Like I'm like this should be a week like this should have been heaven for me this week. Like, hey, I don't have to work. I'm getting paid to not work and just be sick. All I have to do is sit around and play video games. And I mean, we'll talk about it in the show, but I just keep jumping from game to game because I'm like, nah, I don't even care. It's still, I don't care.
There's something about being forced in isolation that makes it miserable.
Sure.
For a lot of folks.
enjoy going out. Like I have, it's not about dating girls and stuff like that. I have like groups of people that I hang out with that I enjoy, and I miss going to restaurants and stuff like that. So even though it's only been a week, it feels like it's been longer because it's just like, oh my gosh, I'm so used to living and staying busy, and now I'm just sitting in a room taking naps every 2 or 3 hours.
And I just want human contact, I just want to hug. I just want to look someone in the eye and tell them that I love them.
What I miss, yeah.
So I turn to my wife and she says, "Fuck off."
Thanks, Dan.
All right,
appreciate it. Yeah.
But glad you're feeling all right.
You gotta
man.
censor that. Yeah. I appreciate all the support though, and mainly from Kyle. Tim and Dan weren't really there for me.
No, that's fine. I asked you.
I'm always in your corner.
I asked you like 200 comments. I asked you like 200 comments ago.
Yeah, Derek, you got a lot of reading. Okay? You got a lot of reading to do in our chat.
And you just ignored it completely. I'm sitting there asking my buddy if he's all right. He's like, whatever. I don't want to read all this. Thanks. Peace out.
I don't know where I leave off in the chat.
No, I know.
I'm also in a different chat with like Jesse and Rob, and sometimes they'll go on like these long and I'm tirades. Like I don't know where I'm at. I don't know. I can't read all this.
It's all right. We've seen a screenshot or two from that chat, and it hurt my heart. All right, so let's talk. Let's talk about. Listen, there's a ton of news. I think there's a little bit, hopefully, of something that interests each of us. I know there's some stuff that even Geoff, who's off this week, that he added in here that I know he'd like. But to be,
if he's not on the show, he doesn't get to talk. So he needs.
You're
to
actually
shut up.
right. Yeah. Well, Geoff, you need to be quiet.
Shut up, Geoff. Like literally, nobody cares about you.
I'm just glad it's not shut up, Tim. That's why I'm going along with this. All right. So there's so much news coming out of Gamescom. There's tons of games, tons of trailers, all this kind of. So we're only gonna highlight some of the notable stuff that we're interested in. Obviously, if you're listening to this, you're interested in gaming, you can always go check out, gaming news on your own if you want to see every single thing. But before we get to Gamescom stuff, I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on a movie-related piece of news that finally landed this week. I actually wasn't sure if I should believe it because I feel like we've had months and months and months of fake news or potentially leaks about Spider-Man trailer, this or that, or details, and I was just like, I don't know what to believe anymore. I'll just wait until Marvel's official YouTube channel puts out a trailer, then I'll believe it. Yeah, because I feel like there were so many headlines, like new trailer, and I was like, oh, the trailer? No, it's not the trailer. Someone got a rumor about the trailer. Great. So all that to say, the new Spider-Man No Way Home trailer did actually.
Oh yeah, hey
guys,
Spider-Man's here! Wow,
this is breaking news. Spider-Man is joining us on the show. Welcome, Spider-Man. Before we talk about the trailer, how are you feeling about your latest film?
I was getting really sick and tired. I don't know what Kevin Feige was doing, like not releasing that trailer. I kept asking him to release it. He just wasn't doing it. I don't know what his problem is.
Why does Spider-Man literally sound like Daniel?
Why do
you didn't even like change your voice at all?
Why do you literally sound like a douchebag? I mean, we can ask all the questions we want, but that's fine.
Like at least give us a
not
little
not as witty as I was hoping there, Spider-Man.
I have COVID. I don't feel well.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
See, it
Where's
gets
the
all
rest
of us,
your
guys.
costume there, buddy? I see a T-shirt underneath that mask there.
It's
What's
really late, Tim. Stop asking questions. Let's get on this. Come on.
Okay,
let's-
wow, Spider-Man knows my name. That is amazing. That feels good. All
I'm
right,
a big
so
fan of the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for listening, Spider-Man. I wish you would share us on your socials every once in a while. That could help us grow, but whatever.
Yeah.
So the No Way Home trailer aired, and to no one's surprise, it did feature, because all the rumors, many of them had some elements of truth to them. It does feature some piece of this multiverse that we've all been diving into with the Marvel TV shows on Disney Plus, which is fascinating, but I got to be honest, I'm already a little tired of all the multiverse stuff. I hope it doesn't exhaust me as a viewer, because even watching Loki, and I really enjoyed it, and watching Wanda, and watching these shows, I like the idea of a multiverse, but now that I'm really thinking it through, I'm like, I hope the multiverse isn't this entire phase, because trying to keep track of which version of reality we're watching and we care about and which one matters and which one's real, that to me feels like it could be exhausting as a viewer. So I hope the multiverse is just little glimpses of other realities, but they keep us centered in one main one. I don't know if that makes any sense. I might be talking.
There's the main timeline, but then things have sort of segregated now because of Loki. Well, and and female Loki, but you know.
Yeah, as long as they keep it centered.
I get what you're saying, Tim, and I think that we're gonna get that in a way. I think we're gonna get a lot of really cool stuff in the multiverse, but I think like how Civil War was downsized to meet like a movie, you know, I think the entire Secret Wars arc is gonna get downsized to fit like the MCU framework. So like I don't know how nutty we're gonna get, but yeah, we'll see. You know,
this trailer looks like things are gonna get a little crazy. Yeah. So if you haven't watched the trailer, you definitely should. Spider-Man's going to watch it right now. That's why he's back to work.
Do you guys like? I'm a big Spider-Man fan.
Yeah.
I really like Tom Holland, so I have zero issue with him as Spider-Man and Peter Parker. I think he's
all right.
great.
See you later, Spidey. Take it easy.
Welcome back, Dan.
Oh, hey. I went to the bathroom and he came.
Literally sounds the exact same. Wow, that's crazy.
I don't know, dude. I don't know what to tell you.
I don't know. But I gotta say, I liked the first film. It was good. The second one was not very good. And then when I watched this trailer, I was like, I don't know. I'm not big on it. I know you guys are probably excited, but do you guys like the first two films, and are you really excited for this third one?
I didn't care for sort of like, I don't know, the setting. It's like, all right, so we're out of the country, like we're in Europe. That's interesting in I guess in a general sense, but like
far from home, you mean?
Yes, exactly. But there's not a lot of tall buildings, so he's not doing cool acrobatic stuff swinging from buildings. So it was like that you lost that in the second one. The Mysterio stuff is cool because like first of all, we haven't seen Mysterio in a movie. So that was cool. And sort of the way that it ended was kind of like, oh, wow, he kind of had like the last laugh. Like, that's really interesting. Now the entire world knows who Spider-Man is. So that feeds into like, you know, continuing the story and, you know, with everything that's even that's happened, you know, with Endgame and like people coming back after the snap, and it's just there's so much chaos going on. And then
I just don't feel like they do a very good job with Spider-Man movies. Like even Amazing Spider-Man, I really liked Andrew Garfield or whatever.
Yeah.
I did too.
And I thought some of the action, especially in the first one, was real good. But story-wise, I don't feel like they do a very good job with Spider-Man movies. And that's kind of where my issue is. I feel like the first one with Tom Holland was good. The second one was weak in almost all areas, especially action, but even story. And if you like Mysterio, great. But I thought he was kind of lame. And then the original trilogy, I remember, now keep in mind I was younger, I remember liking the first one a lot. But then it started to fall apart, and then by the third one, you're like, "What the heck?" It's almost like they don't know how to do the villains very well, and they don't know how to create a good and interesting story combined with good action.
The third
one,
that's
how I feel. That's funny that you say that though, because I think there's like there might even potentially be more people that like the original second one more than the first one.
Yeah,
because like that train scene is iconic.
One, it's considered to be like one of the greatest, which I don't think so, but it's considered to be one of the greatest superhero movies of all time.
Oh, you're talking about.
Look at Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2 with Doc Ock and all that.
There's
stuff,
just kind of there's like a goofiness to it, right? Because
is it fair to say this is one of those weird moments where I'm kind of agreeing with just about everything Derek's saying here. I do think Spider-Man 2 is in general overrated a bit. Everyone talks about it like it is an Oscar-winning level, and I don't think it is. I don't think it's anywhere close to. I don't think it's anywhere close to like The Dark Knight or Winter Soldier. Like those to me are like the pinnacle of comic.
We're like the
book
4
movies.
people on Earth that feel that way. Just FYI.
I know, but I do like it, and I thought Alfred Molina.
I thought it's good. I thought it's fun. I like revisiting it too.
This is what I like what you're saying, Derek, and I agree completely. I think the casting has never been a problem. Like even Paul Giamatti in a small role as Rhino actually worked fine. He wasn't the problem. Or what's his name? Really good actor. I'm blanking on his name as Sandman.
I know you're talking. I like him a lot too.
Great actor.
Yeah.
The problem wasn't him.
That was a lot of meddling too from the studio, because Raimi wanted to take it in he wanted to do Vulture and I think Sandman, and like he wanted to do a different thing, and then they
introduced Venom. I know.
4 was gonna have Vulture in it. I thought like his next one.
Or maybe that's
they were like,
no, he didn't want Venom though.
Listen, I don't disagree at all that the first Spider-Man with Tom Holland is the best. It's one of 2 so far. So it is by far, in my opinion,
the cameos.
I think it's better.
But I feel like they did a better job. Like I cared about, is it Michael Keaton? That's his name, right?
Yeah, Vulture's awesome.
He plays Vulture.
Vulture's still I think he's one of the better villains in MCU. I think he's a good
villain,
bad guy. Yeah.
But they did a good job of going, hey, he's not a terrible person. He's been put in a terrible situation. Now is he making bad decisions? Yes. But he was a good villain. Like I didn't
why I
feel
like Thanos so much, because Thanos actually has logic, and you kind of feel for him at times, and that's why he's so compelling.
I think what the issue with maybe the Far From Home Spider-Man is it doesn't have enough of the so in that first Spider-Man with Tom Holland, there's that moment where there's all like the rubble on top of him. And he's like, Tom does such a good, he does like really great acting in that scene where like he's just, you can tell that he's scared. Like he's a kid and he's scared. And he's like, I don't know if I can get this rubble off me. Like I think I'm going to die. And he's like, he's pushing himself, like he's pumping himself up. Like that moment's like really powerful for me. That feels like the most like Spider-Man / Peter Parker moment of that movie.
It also gave me flashbacks to his performance in The Impossible, which is one of the most stressful movies you can watch.
Maybe, and I was just thinking about this.
Obi-Wan Kenobi's in it. It's great stuff.
And this could be just my preference and maybe why I struggle with Spider-Man movies. Because I'm a big fan of like the Dark Knight trilogy. I think it's the best.
Same.
But
the best.
keep in mind it's dark. Like the themes are very, very dark, which I'm attracted to. Women too, dark women. But like,
wow,
I'm just kidding.
But
I'm just kidding.
Not kidding. But Spider-Man his character is a lighthearted character. Yes. So maybe this is the point I'm trying to make. It struggles with Peter Parker is this innocent boy. He's funny. He's humorous. He's a dork. Spider-Man is a wisecracking hero. And then you try to bring in these villains, and they're supposed to be dark in this almost like Disney World type movie where it's just like happy, 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 and you can't get that darkness. Does that make sense? Like it contradicts itself?
Yeah.
And I think that's why a lot of villains.
And Derek, I think one of the reasons why Far From Home was, while it's an overall enjoyable movie, like I actually rewatched it and thought, I like this movie. I just don't love it. Like it just don't stand out to me. And why I thought it was such a letdown at the time in the theater when I left, I was like, that was fun, but why don't I like it? And I think it's because I had just watched Endgame, 3 months before?
Sure, yeah.
And it was one of the most epic conclusions to an amazing story. Again, it had its faults, it had plot holes. I get it. Okay, I'm not saying it's perfect, but as far as comic book movies go, it was so epic. I mean, I wanted to stand up and cheer at certain parts, and I loved it. We get to this weird epilogue of a Spider-Man movie. It felt like an epilogue to Endgame, honestly.
You know what the other issue is too, and actually Derek is right. Is like like happy, goofy, kind of like having fun. But like I think it's because they're still stuck in him being a kid. Where like if you actually think about the history of Spider-Man, like the people that he meets, Mary Jane and or Gwen Stacy specifically, like the stuff that happens to Gwen Stacy, and we didn't see Uncle Ben die again because people like apparently don't want that to keep happening, even though technically it's only been rebooted twice. But we've had like 6 Batman,
Yeah,
so
it
that's
just
fine.
feels
whatever.
like we've seen it a
Yeah,
lot.
we've
Yeah.
seen a lot of Waynes get shot at.
But
an
it's
seen a lot of
alley, you know?
Waynes getting
Yeah,
shot, a lot of
we've seen
Batman.
of it.
There's actually a lot of darkness in Peter's life. Like when he's with great power comes great responsibility. He just has to roll with the punches and deal with death. Like he deals with it all the time. And I think maybe that's like when he gets older that happens more in the comics, I think. So we haven't quite got there, but I don't know if they're going to get there with Tom because, the contract might run out. So we don't get to.
I am
I don't
curious
know.
how I'm assuming, let's say it's going to be a trilogy of movies. Let's say that Tom Holland doesn't do any more standalone movies after this. That'd be kind of sad, but also we'll see what happens. But anyway, let's just say that he does a trilogy. I'm curious how it'll stand up in a few years from now when we look back at the Raimi trilogy, the Andrew Garfield parts 1 and 2, and then these Tom Holland
I
movies.
think this is the key one because, well,
Yeah.
Andrew Garfield never got a third one, which he deserved. But Tobey Maguire's third one was an absolute
It was
train
a
wreck.
train wreck. Yeah,
Like,
it
if
was.
anybody liked that movie, I don't
too
wanna
many
say.
spinning plates in that.
Dude,
It
the
was a train wreck.
videos of Bully Toby where he just pops up and
We got the best
are you
memes
gonna
of it,
cry?
yeah.
Are you gonna cry? And he does the dance thing, but they
was
just
bad.
put it in other random things like
It's
So
worth the memes.
if
Yeah.
they can nail this third one to be at the level, to me, this is for me, of the first one, then he easily gets, the best trilogy.
Because
or
then
the
that
best
means Far From Home will be the
reboot.
worst one, and even that's not a
Yeah.
bad movie.
It's not a bad movie. I rewatched it. I watched it twice, Far From Home. And I rewatched it, I want to say 3 months ago, and I actually felt worse about it. So usually when I watch something a second time, like I went back and watched The Suicide Squad a second time, and I remember liking the movie, but I didn't like it as much as Jeff and Kyle, and that's why we talked about it on the show, and I was just like, really, Derek, you have terrible taste. Well, I went back and watched it again, and I was like, my God, I'm obsessed with this shark, and all he says is one
And
Yeah, he's a good character.
and
dude, I like
So-
that. That's your response to people now on social media too.
Yeah,
It's just
hand. Yeah,
hand.
It's good.
So that's like, I went back and I enjoyed that. That's just one example. I do it all the time. I went back to this movie and I was like, no, I actually think I like it less. Now, maybe it's just because I know people like Jake Gyllenhaal. I don't like him. I find him annoying.
I like Jake.
He's
Yeah,
great.
like
And I
Jake a
thought
lot.
the
think he's a
character,
wonderful actor.
was annoying.
Night Stalker, dude. Is it Night Stalker the movie I'm thinking?
Nightcrawler.
Nightcrawler, thank you.
Nightcrawler.
I never
he's so
watched that.
He's so creepy in that.
Prisoners, he's amazing.
Donnie
in that.
Darko.
Donnie
Donnie
Darko.
Darko.
I think it's Brokeback Mountain that killed it.
There it is.
Oh, okay,
that's
so that's
one
the
movie. That's like
That's-
saying Robert Pattinson is just the Twilight guy, even
Yeah.
though he's done like 20 amazing award-winning movies. But that's fine.
So, all right.
Well,
so,
I'm curious to see how he does Batman. But
I
hey, we've
am
got a lot of
interested
other
to
things.
see. I am interested to see how they tie in Doctor Strange
okay.
and how they give him a strong motivation.
So,
You mean
what I wa-
Mephisto?
That's what I wanted. So that's what I wanted to ask you guys. We can end it with that or whatever. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being absolutely not, 10 like definitely. The other 2 Spider-Man showing up. What do you think? Because that's what everybody's
I
hoping,
think it's
right?
a 10. I think it's a 10.
I
That's
think
what
it's a
everybody
10 that
wants,
they're
and it's
going to
what-
have a very brief moment. I
Yeah,
don't
think it's gonna be some
feature.
big like where they're gonna be palling around like in the animated movie.
It might be a
Into
thing where they
Spider-Verse.
show up and help each other in some
at
final
the very
moment.
end.
It
I think
might-
the giveaway is
Isn't
that
there an
Dr. Ock
issue-
says hello Peter, so he would have to recognize Tobey
that
Maguire.
was yeah.
That's
yeah,
the
yeah.
big giveaway to me. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
but
I think they'll be there.
I'm
It'll
gonna
be-
say you're gonna see Toby. I don't think they can bring back Andrew. I think they had like a contractual issue with Andrew.
Well, it was
that I don't
Sony for
think he
both
can
of
come-
those.
Yeah, but I don't think he can come back. Like I think I think they burn bridges with that. So
Yeah.
Toby, yes, and it would make sense because the villain that they're bringing back is from Toby's
but
trilogy.
Electro is
Electro,
from
yeah, I was
Andrew-
gonna say
as
Electro's
Andrew,
in there
yeah.
too.
Yeah, he's been
Oh, okay.
announced, although that's spoilers.
And
apparently.
and also it's
Um,
rumored that Lizard, you actually see him in the trailer, like it's a lizard in a cage. So like
Yeah,
the
but
bad
there
guy
was-
Lizard from the
listen,
first
there
movie
was
is probably gonna be back too.
Nothing in the trailer showed Jamie Foxx, so you guys just spoiled this movie horrifically. All right,
Well,
so
What?
whoops.
That's been
I'm not even gonna go see the movie now. Thanks, guys.
yeah,
great.
thanks for
You know what?
going
You're
to-
Great. It's just been the headlines for the last year, but it's great.
Nope, it doesn't
Uh,
count. It's got to be in the trailer, Kyle. Okay, it's got to be in the trailer. Otherwise, it's a spoiler. I learned that the hard way when I happened to mention some actor who's obviously in an opening of a movie. I was
You know
told.
what, Tim? I learned it the hard way too. So we all,
Yeah.
we all get screamed at once upon
We
a
do.
time about spoilers.
Last, I do want to ask one other quick question to follow up Dan's question. Quick yes or no from each of you. Will Willem Dafoe clearly be in this movie, not just a voice from a distance?
Yes.
Will he clearly be in this movie?
100% yes.
Can we just hope he's
Godspeed,
like the
Tim.
greatest white guy to ever exist in the world? So he
He's
should
a-
be in
absolutely.
everything.
He was
He
John
really
Wick's
is.
best friend, guys. Everyone have some respect. Okay?
Godspeed, Spider-Man.
Godspeed, Spider-Man. All right.
Would
let's
make an
go through-
excellent Joker, by the way.
Yes.
Who, Willem Dafoe?
Yeah.
Wasn't he rumored a long time ago to maybe do
Yes.
that?
I
The
think
mouth.
so.
He
He has
was.
the
'Cause
perfect
He's
mouth.
got
for
the
it.
mouth.
Yeah, he's got the
They don't
perfect-
even have to do any like.
No
they don't have to do
prosthetics.
anything
That's all
with it.
him.
Yeah.
It's not too late either. If they want to do an old Joker,
late.
it's not too late.
Right. All right, a couple things that popped out at me this week. Some of them are Gamescom related, some of them weren't. But of course, Dan and I have an unhealthy love of Valheim. So that does have an official release date for its first major update called Hearth and Home for September 16th. I'm hoping they actually hit that date. To their credit, it's an early access, and they've been really good about saying, we'll release things when they're ready. And I know that a lot of their fans are impatient and people have kind of fallen off the game a bit, but I like that they're like, no, we're going to do a really good job before we release it. So I respect that they're consistent with that. I think they're up to maybe 8 people on staff now. So
Yeah,
I'm not.
we can play that the day before my birthday, Tim.
That's right. Oh, that's right. September 17th is your birthday, isn't it?
Yeah.
So anyway, so that I like the cinematic trailer. Whatever animator helped them with that did a really good job. That was a cool trailer. But don't be deceived by the trailer. The game doesn't look like that. It looks very different. But
It doesn't.
lots of cool updates coming to that game. Crusader Kings 3 is going to hit Xbox Series X and S and PS5, and the quote was soon. So that was one of my favorite strategy games from last year, and it's really in depth. So if you've got some time to sit down and really dive into it, I think it's worth your time because it'll be on Game Pass on Xbox. So it's already on Game Pass for PC if you have PC. But that one's great. Speaking of PC, Bravely Default 2 is coming to Steam on September 2nd. So still technically a console exclusive for the Switch, but it will be on PC. I think they're going to have a few, I would imagine, some visual improvements there.
Just so you know, I don't know because I don't think any of you guys bought it, but we're all interested in it. It was $30 on Amazon.
I have 20 hours in Bravely Default 2. I bought it at launch.
Yeah, I haven't
Wait,
hopped back on.
Can I be
Switch
super
version?
honest? I don't remember a single minute of that 20 hours.
Derek, you're saying
and
the
I
Switch
actually
version
like
is
the
on sale?
game. It's not.
Yeah, it's the
memorable, I don't
physical
know.
Switch version is
Okay.
$30 at
I gotta
Amazon.
take a look at that.
Kyle, same thing for me, but there was a moment toward. Did you do the sand arc? Did you finish that arc or?
I think I'm in the middle of that. Yeah.
Okay, at the very end of that is actually pretty excellent. Like the twist, I kind of really liked.
Okay.
So
I really like that whole series.
I
it's
felt
so
like
tropey.
you guys all wanted
Yeah.
to buy it, and
It's
well,
so
Kyle
tropey
wasn't
that,
on the
like-
show at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it's so tropey that it bleeds. I'm just like, what happened?
Tell you
in
what,
that game
though,
again?
I've been listening to a lot of soundtracks during work, and I just recently made I just wanted soundtracks just from 2021 from games. Unfortunately, some of the best ones, like Death's Door, aren't on Spotify. So, but there are some other really good ones that are on Spotify, including the Bravely Default 2 soundtrack, which is pretty fantastic. I was listening. Every time a song like that comes on, I actually switch over from whatever window I'm working on just to see like what song is, oh, that's Bravely Default. Like
There
these
it is
songs.
again.
Dude,
these
just the
songs are-
regular battle theme is excellent.
It's really
super-
good.
Now that's coming back to me. I do.
Because you know when you're listening to soundtracks and then you might get through 7 songs and not notice, and all of a sudden one of them makes you go like, "What is that?"
Yeah,
That's
you
really
perk
good.
up.
Yeah.
Anyway, Bravely Default does that. There is this new game I just downloaded. I'm hoping that it'll be available tonight for me to download the first weekend beta of this game called Icarus. It is I think, pretty graphically impressive survival game, but the idea is that it's mission based, player versus environment, so it's up to 8 players co-op. It's going to have, you can build, you can upgrade and all that stuff, but the idea is that you have sessions, like it's more mission based, and I don't know exactly what that means, but they're trying to make sessions easier at the jump, and then you build up over time. They don't want you necessarily to just be stuck in some big overwhelming world where you have to do step by step and hide. A lot of survival games
that.
have to hide in a corner. They're trying to do it more session based. Again, I don't know exactly what that's going to look like, but I'll find out this weekend. You have to pre-order the game right now on Steam. You can get it for $27. And it comes out in November, but they're going to have like 6 open betas. So I'll let you guys.
I like
Yeah,
that the
please.
screenshot is like just like out in the woods, but like your main character looks like he's from No Man's Sky. Like it just looks like regular like Earthwoods, but like
Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw a bunch of different character models. It looks like you can really deck out your character with some different gear and suits and stuff. And the environments look
Okay.
really good. Again, it's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
screenshot. Do you remember back in the day when you would get a gaming magazine and you saw a screenshot and you're like, I remember seeing the screenshots for Turok 2 that just sticks out for me for some reason and thinking, this is the most realistic looking game anyone has ever made.
It's never gonna get better than this.
And
Definitely
I was right. That's about as good as it got.
Yeah.
So many
those were
64
the high,
bits,
that was
dude.
the high point. Yeah.
64 bits? Come on, you can't beat 64 bits.
So many bits.
So many polygons.
People have been wanting Bloodborne on PC for a long time, but they're not getting it yet. But they will get this game called Thymesia, however you say this game. It very much looks influenced. Let's use that word kind of loosely, not rip off. It's totally just influenced by Bloodborne. I don't know if it's really boss centric. I can't tell yet. It looks like there were some big bosses, but it certainly had that very dark 3D action RPG vibe, and even the way you dodged looked very Bloodborne when I saw that. That comes out December 7th. Go check out a trailer for that if that sounds interesting to you. I think it looks like it could be good. Who knows? I'm assuming they'll hit consoles as well, but right now it's just PC as far as I know. If you are like me and sometimes you're playing massive games like Mass Effect, I'm in Mass Effect 3 now, or you're trying Conan Exiles, which we'll talk about later, or some of these other massive games, and you sometimes just need that little like 10, 15 minute time killer. There's a couple of games I can recommend. One's called Dorf Romantic. It's this tile-based city building game. You can play a demo on Steam if you want to. I think it's coming to other consoles too. But it's a little bit like Carcassonne if you ever played that tabletop game with tiles, where you kind of place your tiles and you connect pieces. But it's just single player, and the idea there is to essentially make little combos. But it's very relaxed. Same thing with City Block Builder. I watched a video of this one. You can build up your business basically in 1950s LA. Very like Black Dahlia time frame. It looks like it's just, but it's like a strategy sim city builder, business builder kind of a game. And then Townscaper, which it literally is a town. They describe it as a town building toy, and I was like, what does that mean? It was like $5, so I bought it, and it's a town building toy. That's what it is. Like you're not really given like objectives. Your people aren't happy. You have to bring in this resource. It's legitimately it's almost like having a paint tool. You can just build your city whatever direction, your town whatever direction you want. Towers real high. You can just change the colors. It's just meant to be like doodling, but you're city building. It's hard to explain unless you try it. So if you just need something relaxed, laid back, that doesn't demand a lot of you, there's a couple recommendations for you. But let's talk about the Gamescom opening night live. And I think, Derek, you said this in the chat, and I agree with this completely. I feel like Geoff Keighley is kind of doing an awesome job these days with all of his events. I think he's
Yeah, I agree.
He's giving us what we need.
Yeah,
I feel like he's stepping up when the big three are consistently letting me down with their lame, boring shows.
Yeah.
He knows, like, that guy's a gamer, man. Like, he knows what we want to hear. You can see how excited he gets. Like, he starts beaming when he's about, you guys are going to be so excited about this.
Dude, when he was like,
Elden
Elden Ring's happening.
Yeah,
the Elden Ring. Yeah.
It's
like, dude, leave me alone.
happening.
You could see, you can like, it's so genuine. And I know he gets like called like the Dorito King and stuff like that, because like the guy makes them like, that guy hustles, like he makes deals with marketing, and ad people to like pay for these gigantic high budget events,
He
like,
has to.
And he pays for a lot of it out of money, out of pocket too,
You
so
see
it's
someone like that who's not really directly employed by any of these one companies, and I'm like, oh, the word influencer actually works for him. I hate the word influencer on most social media presences, but for him, I'm like, no, that makes sense. He actually influences the market.
Derek.
Well,
Derek loves it. Look at him.
He came from like Spike TV,
I hate
the Spike TV
me too.
side of game trailers. So like game trailers kind of
He was
spun
on
off
G4.
into like, he was on G4 for a while too. Yeah. So like he came from within the industry, like in terms of like entertainment, but like now he's the giver of news. Like he is. He's an important. He's a very important figure in the industry.
Everything.
I mean, I think he knows that this is his career. I don't want to act like he doesn't. I don't want to say he's a fake or a fraud. I don't believe he is, but I do think he knows like this is his career. That
he's making
this
money.
is his job. Exactly. This is how he makes a living.
Yeah.
But I do believe there is some there's definitely some authenticity to him when it comes to like his excitement level and stuff like that. And then there's other stuff that you can tell he's like, this is business.
Yep, he phones it in. Absolutely. And I think that's okay, because then when he's being for real, it's easy to believe. It's easy to buy in.
Yeah.
I get excited too.
Yeah.
So some of the stuff he talked about, we'll skip over. Some of it we might just spend 5 seconds on. Some of it, I really want to get your
Let's
guys'
just get
thoughts.
to the good stuff. Like
'Cause
Halo.
well, I want to kick it off with what they started off. I think they started off with this, and that's
They
Saints
did.
Row,
Yeah.
which
Yeah,
kicks
that's a
off
good place to start off.
February 22nd, which by the way is pretty soon. It's not that far away. Believe it or not, we just talked about how it's the fall. And so in about 5 months, we'll be getting a brand new Saints Row game. And so they showed a cinematic trailer for this, and then they did some diving into more details later on. I didn't watch a whole lot of that stuff or read a whole lot of that stuff. But what do you guys think about the Saints Row reboot? I'm kind of digging what they showed so far.
I don't have a history with this series whatsoever. The little snippets that I saw real quick, I mean, and just that trailer overall seemed really fun. I always thought the series, just the vibes of it was goofy, and that's what I got. But apparently,
right.
People are very upset. They're furious, as usual, on Twitter, because this looks like a bunch of hipsters trying to be gangbangers, and they're finding it super offensive. And it's like, all right. I mean,
People are very mad.
Literally anybody can dig
are?
for anything.
Yeah, people are rejecting this reboot.
Derek's like, I
like,
had no idea.
Look at these hipster TikTok influencers trying to gangbang. It's like, what are you even saying? What is a hipster?
People are being real dumb about this, and Volition even went to Twitter and goes, "We're not backing down. Like we believe in our vision, and our game is going to come out unchanged."
It's
and
a video.
like,
Okay,
good,
so
good.
I did see that headline, but I didn't know that had anything to do with
There's a lot of hate
complaints.
going on, and I'll preface saying kind of with Dan, it looks fun. I mean, I played every single Saints Row, so I kind of come from the other side of it, where I played all of them, and I just love that series because it is what you're saying. It is goofy. So it kind of fits that like criteria of like, oh, you're a GTA thing, but also like incredibly dumb. Like, you're not taking itself seriously.
Yeah.
I feel like, and I'm not a huge fan either. In fact, when they went full on silly, like full on gangster silly, that's when they actually lost me. I was a big fan of the original Saints Row on the 360.
Weren't the first two a
you
little
didn't like
more
it when
serious?
Gat went to hell and it was an opera? You didn't like that?
Oh my god.
No, that's when they lost me.
The first two were like a little more serious.
A little
right?
more Grand Theft Auto.
The first one, like, but it was still good. Like, while Grand Theft Auto 4 went like really kind of serious and like we're gonna tell a serious story and everything's kind of serious in this game, Saints Row kind of filled the void of being like a parody of like society. It was still like more serious and like grounded in terms of like we're gang members and we're gonna take over the city.
You weren't beating people over the head with a dildo.
Yeah, but you weren't beating people over the head with a dildo. There weren't aliens coming down and like, like
that's when they
it
like
was grounded, but like
lost.
it was still parody though, for sure.
Okay. Yeah.
So anyway, so I'm not a huge fan of the series, but I felt like when I watched the trailer, I liked it, so I guess they were aiming for guys like me, and then they pissed off everybody else. Yeah, I'm a hipster. Exactly. I'm an influencer. So as I saw those influencers, I was like, oh my god, I connect with this. We're influencers.
They're talking to me.
Yeah. So I actually thought it was a super cool trailer, and I was like, I'm on board. I like this. In fact, I just logged into my computer, and Epic always like gives me like updates, like, hey, this is available, and I was like, oh, Saints Row 3 remastered is now free on the Epic Game Store. So I took it.
Downloaded that.
It looks good too, like the next gen quote unquote version of it.
So I'm curious to see how pretty it will be on my PC. But so I liked what I saw. Is it check boxes on some of the stuff? We're not going to get into that, but like with movies and games right now and media, everything feels checkbox instead of just make what you want to make. It's like, well, I don't want to offend this group. I don't want to offend this group. I don't want to offend this group. But I thought it looked cool. Like, I'm actually excited. And then even while Tim was like, it's 5 months away, I'm like, that's awesome. That's what I like. I like that you show me this, and then it's 5 months away. Yeah. Hopefully no delays. And I do like that they are taking a stand. It's dangerous because if the backlash is legit, it could impact sales, but it might be a vocal minority. But like, hopefully no delays. I think this could be cool. But my point I was trying to make was that it felt like a reboot of the series. Like, they knew We got away. Like, we went too crazy.
And they said
Now-
that in the interviews too. They go, "We went
Okay.
too crazy. So we pulled back."
We need to be more grounded and start creating a narrative that actually makes sense and is worth telling a story in. And if that's what they're doing, if they can pull off the whole Grand Theft Auto vibe but do it their own way, they might get somebody like me. Am I super hyped? No, but will I probably buy it? Yeah. I mean,
could be a really fun game to kick off the year, along with a few others in February. But
and you can still create characters in this game. That they didn't take that away. They said it's their most robust character creator yet.
See, even knowing that takes away any annoyance I might have had with like, wow, you guys made essentially a college brochure with your cast of characters here. You wanted to make every gender, every race. But I think they did that to kind of show your character can look like whatever.
And I think they check all the boxes so you don't have to. So you can be a green person with an afro, with feet the size of Sora, which you can make, So it's like I think that's still going to be there. And like in terms of grounded, like there's still laser guns in this trailer. So it's like it's grounded because it's about gangs. And I was kind of reading some stuff about it, and it sounds like you're kind of taking over things block by block, like restaurant by restaurant, front by front, and creating a criminal empire. That's kind of like the gameplay loop or whatever.
That sounds fun.
Super
is the
fun.
campaign
Yeah,
solo, or can you play
co-op from start to finish?
Okay, see, that's a big selling point too.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So a lot of information's come out about this game.
Because
got me
what
hyped
was
for
the
sure.
last game by that studio? I bought it.
Mayhem.
Yeah, Agents of Mayhem, and I liked it. I know it got crapped on a lot, but the big mistake they made was there was no co-op, and I'm like, I feel like I'm playing a Crackdown type game, and I'm being forced to play by myself.
I think that game would be remembered completely differently if it had co-op.
It's way better than. I'm not saying it's amazing. It wasn't, but it's way better than what people. Literally, the news came out that it was solo, and this I do remember, and everybody like turned on it. They're like,
That game was $10 in like the first month of it releasing.
Yeah,
I remember how big of a failure that game was. Yeah, I thought it was fine. Yeah.
So that was a fun opening announcement. I liked that, and it wasn't the only fun announcement. That was a good way to kick things off, though. And they had teased it. We knew Saints Row was coming, but it was cool to see that trailer. And then they jumped right into, well, probably not right into, but the next notable thing I wanted to highlight was Marvel Midnight Suns. So this is coming from.
That actually was second.
It might have been right after it, but it's from 2K and Firaxis. Is that how you say it? The folks behind XCOM. And so this game is coming in March. So yet another game that we're getting officially announced, and then it's coming in 6 months. We always complain that not enough companies do this, and now you got
well, it's because I complained enough. So you're
now we need them to delay everything to 2023 because
it's getting crazy. Yeah, 2022 is looking crazy. But this one, it is going to be a tactical RPG, although they're saying it's not exactly like XCOM. I don't know what that means. Did they reveal anything else about this?
No, because when I was reading like actual like interviews, like Disney came to Firaxis and goes, "We love playing your games. Would you like to make a Marvel game for us?"
So it might be much more like XCOM than this.
So and that the developer said, "Well, we're going to take like what we know about tactical RPGs and Marvel and marry them together." He said that from his mouth. So like,
listen, I'm cool with
I don't know. I saw conflicting stuff about this. It seems like XCOM with Marvel.
I'm wondering.
Great, so I'll take.
I'm wondering if they're almost going to do like sort of more actiony because it's not so much shooting, like a twist with like Valkyria Chronicles, for example.
I think there will have to be some sort of twist.
Yeah.
I think there will have to be some sort of twist.
Yeah.
But
okay, I didn't know that was what it was going to be at all because like I don't think they showed gameplay, and from the vibes of what I saw,
it looked like an action game.
So this is going to be what I was actually thinking was it was going to be almost like an ultimate Marvel game.
Right. That's what I thought what it was. I think in the chat we were all screaming like Ultimate Alliance.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was going to be.
It is a tactical RPG, and you create a brand new hero that interacts with all the other heroes, and there's tons of editing and leveling
up. You cannot bang them,
don't...
but you can become best friends with them.
Yeah, you can't romance them completely.
Sorry.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, that's how I live my life in real life. Like, can we just be best friends?
Absolutely.
So I don't understand. I don't know. We don't have to go on this forever, but I don't know how you do an XCOM type game with superheroes.
I'm not totally feeling the idea. I'm also not feeling the idea. I prefer an action game.
And for me, I immediately go, "This is perfect." For me,
I like that genre, but like if I'm gonna do superheroes, I just want to be zipping around. You know what I mean?
It's Fire Emblem.
Yeah.
They're just
Yeah.
making Fire Emblem now. That's what.
Listen,
they're doing.
if they do, it's kind of what Kyle said at the start of the show. If they do it well, even if it's been done before, do it really well, and I'll be all in.
Yeah.
So just do it really well.
They,
and if
they
you
know
do
that genre
incorporate,
very well. I don't think Firaxis is going to suddenly make a bad tactical RPG game. you
well,
know?
and if they
No,
do
they'll-
find a
they'll
way
figure
to
it out.
incorporate some action elements, then that's cool too. So
Yeah.
All right, Halo Infinite. They did talk about Halo Infinite a lot, and we got some
All I care about.
really cool reveals here. I did like the cinematic trailer for the multiplayer. For a brief moment, I was like, are they going to try to convince us now that Master Chief has been a young black woman British black woman this entire time?
Like
I hope.
Samus, surprise!
I
we're-
hope.
Man,
Take the mask off at Samus.
y'all may have never heard from me again. I don't know.
But no, of course, that was a way of
If I have to
introducing-
see one more though black female lead, it's getting old. Like if you
Oh,
guys
man.
aren't seeing it, I'm seeing it. Like if
What?
every new
know.
game it's coming out, I'm like, oh wow, a black female lead. I had no idea that was coming.
Why?
Wow,
Why
that's
are you doing
awesome.
this? Why are you doing
Yeah,
this?
what's going on?
getting canceled
What's going on?
again. But you are right. When you try to overcompensate, it does become old pretty quick. That
That's
is
my
true.
point. It's for those
Yes,
the two
sure.
to the two new listeners like, oh my god, he's racist. He's racist. No, well, I am racist, but no.
You
My
just said
point
you love
was-
black women a second ago. Make up your mind.
Yeah, but
this is
I love
racial
them,
whiplash.
man.
That's what this is.
Okay, all right.
It's kind of like, all right, listen, I had a point. My point is that it's what Tim was saying. When
I
you
know.
overdo it,
Yes, I know.
it becomes obvious why you're doing
You
it.
I would
and
used
it
the
takes
right term
away-
earlier, checkboxy, and I think that
Yes.
sums it up.
Dude,
It's like when
I-
it feels artificial, it feels artificial, and it has
Feels
nothing to do with
artificial.
race. It just sometimes it just
I actually
feels.
think it's more
artificial.
just female leads. I think there's a good number of white female leads in games too. I
Yeah,
do
it's
feel like
implemented.
most games that are being revealed right now, it's a lot of female leads, and I'm fine with that. But after a while, I'm kind of like, where's my male option? Okay, where's my male?
I'm
at this
sure
point,
we'll whine
at this
about
point,
it.
you should just make everything have a character
I
creator.
really,
because
Yeah,
I really just don't care.
I think you
as
would.
long-
I think you would get rid of a lot of
make it
like
good.
issues.
Just
and
make it
bad
good.
press.
I just.
I don't care. Just make
It's
it good.
more. It's more the acting. If the voice acting is excellent, it doesn't. I don't give a shit what your gender is.
Well,
Just
now we
have
have
it
great
deliver
voice
it.
actors, so there's never like an excuse for
No.
bad voice acting.
Outriders.
Yeah, like when they had the Saints Row girl on there, I wasn't like rolling my eyes. I wasn't
Yeah.
like, oh my god. I was like, oh, she seems sweet.
And you don't even have to be her. Like you can make a dude, and then obviously it's not going to be her voice. So
Or
Yeah.
is it?
I'll
Or is
make
it?
it.
or
her
is
voice.
it sure? All right.
All right, well, Halo Infinite, but back to that. They
we're supposed to
talked
talk
about
about-
they did give us a release date, and that's December 8th. But it says that it's Halo Infinite multiplayer. Is the whole campaign coming out that day
The
too?
whole campaign, not co-op.
And then
so
co-op's
it's
being added
campaign
next-
and multiplayer, and co-op will come later. That is where you're getting a lot of complaints. I'm gonna agree because I
Gonna
always
hard
play
agree.
the Halo games with Jesse, and
I have
so we
never
actually
played one of these games
planned.
by myself ever.
Yeah, I actually plan to play Halo Infinite day one with Jesse. I knew him and I would take the day off and we would play it.
But you can't now. We can for multiplayer, but not for the campaign, which is a bummer. But I've played through
Well,
3,
I think
and I've only played them single player, which
I
still
think
prefer.
him and I are just gonna like set up cameras on our TVs and
I
like
love it.
film each other. Like, hey,
Do you like this
pretend like
part?
we're-
Wow.
super
It's a
cool. We're
hunter.
playing it together. We're
Yeah.
playing it together. No, we're
Cover
not.
my 6. Just kidding. Okay.
LOL.
But I really liked the design, not only of the Halo-themed Elite 2 controller, but also of the Series X. I just thought
Ugh.
those Halo designs looked so cool.
I really want. I could have gotten the wire the Elite controller. It was available, and I chose not to. I really wanted I wanted the Series X. I think that's one of the coolest consoles I've ever
It
seen.
looks
The only
so-
console
I'm telling.
I think looks better is the Gears of War one for the Xbox Series S, which I still own. I think that's the coolest console, but this one's up there.
I think special edition consoles often look like really stupid, and like there's been 2 in the entirety for me, and it's been this one, which is number 1, and like the Xbox 360 R2D2 like one. Those are like the only 2 I would have ever like. And like I don't have a Series X, and like I kind of almost want to make a point to like find one of these. And,
I
like,
kind
get
of
it,
liked
so.
the artistic approach for the Uncharted PS4. Was it PS4 that they did?
Yeah,
one's
I
blanking
had that one.
The
I like that
Final
the
one.
Fantasy-
light blue one.
Final Fantasy 15 one had cool designs on it, but it was just designs. It wasn't like
Got it. Almost like a
game.
decal, really. Like this
Yeah,
looks
yeah.
this looks like it's etched into the system. Oh, this looks so.
No, I think Microsoft hands down does the best just because they add like he was talking about RTD2. It makes the noises when you click the buttons, and it did that with
exactly.
Gears.
Yeah, they really
Yeah.
leaned into it.
I have
yeah.
both
Yeah,
the
yeah.
gears.
I
I
like
have the. I actually have all three of the gears. I have the Xbox 360 Gears of War. I have the Xbox Series S Gears of War, and then I have the Xbox One X Gears of War. So of course, whenever they have the Series X Gears of War, I'll do that too. But this Halo one, and then there was a Halo one for the Xbox 360 that was
I had
sick.
that one. Yeah, I think I had
Was
that one.
so sick. So they
Wasn't it
do
green?
a
It was
really
green,
good job.
yeah.
It was
yeah,
like a
like
military
uh,
green, right?
Yeah,
I know what
yeah.
y'all are talking about. The one I'm talking about is actually a blue one. It's like a
Oh,
nice
Okay,
blue one.
okay. I'm pretty. If I had it, I had the green one.
Yeah, I loved the designs.
Oh,
Usually,
that's because the one I'm talking about is Xbox One. It's
Ah.
not the 360. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I know. What
the
you're talking
trailer for this, when they shifted into showing the controller while Master Chief was suiting up for battle, was really cool. But then when they actually started to kind of zoom out and you saw the controller right away, even before they finished revealing the whole thing, I was like, "This looks awesome!" Like I could already tell it looks
And
really
about. It was
expensive.
cool.
and it's expensive.
$200
but the Series X looks amazing. So
I'd rather pay $550 for the Series X than $200 for that controller.
I mean, literally $100 more, you could get the Series S, which I mean I bought recently. So it's like, I mean,
you mega
And
fan.
I gotta say, I like the Elite controllers, but they're not worth that amount of money. Especially mine, which has right bumper issues, and I only owned it for like 3 months before it had right bumper issues.
Yikes.
But I was gonna say ended up ordering the Forza Horizon 5 controller because I think
Oh, nice.
that
Very nice
actually
controller.
is cooler, and
Yeah.
it's $125 less. Again, I know it's not a Elite's whatever controller, but I'd rather have.
Yeah, I wish there was like a regular controller version of the Halo controller. I think that would be
Yeah,
very
I
cool.
think that would have been cool.
Well, I liked the reveals they had for Halo, the trailers, I guess is the better way to put it, that they had for Halo, and the fact that we are getting a new Halo game in December, even if it's not complete. I get the co-op thing, I do. So that's a
Yeah.
valid
But
criticism.
I
but
love the
it
idea
is
of
here.
multiplayer having a story though, so that's kind of cool.
Everyone who has an Xbox or PC or an Xbox, any kind of Xbox
this
really,
guy.
is going to be able to play some Halo this Christmas, and that's pretty cool. I think that's pretty cool. So
I'm excited. That game is, I don't know why, I guess it's nostalgia, and
Yeah.
it's one of those things, and I know Kyle and I talked about it. I think we did it on a show a couple weeks ago or a few weeks ago, where I said like if you talk to me about Halo, I'll tell you I like it, but I'm a bigger Gears fan, and I'm not a fanboy of Halo. But whenever Halo season comes, when a game is coming, I become like this Halo fanboy,
Yeah.
where I'm just like, I love the games. Like I started playing Halo 2 some more. Like yesterday I played, I think through 3 or 4 chapters. I'm halfway through the game, and I'm like, man, I now know. I almost made a post, but I decided not to. I was like, what makes Halo games great? And I think as I was playing Halo 2, I was like, this is what makes Halo great to me, and that is listening to the music play as you're fighting these swarms of enemies, the
Music
tightness
is
of the
so good.
controls.
Yeah.
Like that's why I feel like it's so good, is it nails the atmosphere.
Yeah, very cinematic.
So that's what I'm hoping with
The original
Infinite.
Halo was a step into cinematic gaming that we hadn't really seen much of before the Xbox.
And
So,
the way they do it, like I forgot the guy who wrote all the music, but the way they you'll be entering in it's a battle area, like it'll be a big war area, and you'll enter into it and the music will start building and building.
Michael
And as
Salvatore, right?
yeah, and as you
Something
go
like-
through it and you get into more of the battle, it just full on goes. And I'm like,
Swells.
am I in some like epic movie right now?
Yeah,
Like I
you
feel
are.
like
You
I'm
are.
playing
You're in one.
this epic movie.
Yeah.
It's really
Dan,
well
are you
done.
going to be playing through these games now that you own an Xbox? Have you done that yet? Are you
Well,
thinking about it?
I'm still in the process of going through the Gear series because I honestly like I've played like a tiny bits of Halo over the years. Like I have experienced them and I just never got it.
Yeah.
But I've also always been more of a third person shooter person anyways. Just
Okay,
like
fair enough.
always third person for me.
You might
so-
enjoy the story, especially when you get to Halo 2. I think the story takes a step up in quality and intrigue and some of the
Yeah.
twists. And
Yeah.
I think Halo 3 had a great story as well. there's a lot of conversation about Halo 4, which I never finished, and of course Halo 5 gets a lot of hate, but I still think those are quality. But anyway, I'll be
I think they're
curious.
super quality games.
I'll be curious when you do start playing
I
those.
will-
And I might
I will
play
definitely
4 and
get to
5.
them.
Depends on how attached you are to a certain character that dictates whether you like Halo 5.
I like when things
I mean,
happen to characters.
Cortana looks
love
like
how
she's got a
Halo
nice
5
booty, so you know. Just saying.
I can't stop staring at Katana. But my point
Neither
is
can Master
that
Chief.
yeah, he loves that chip inside him. But I will say I like
inside
the way Halo 5 ended. I do have
Me
my
too.
complaints like everybody else. Like I watched, and Tim and I have talked about this, where we listened to the podcast, the hype. Yes, Halo 5 as a narrative overall was a letdown with the hype campaign. But I love, like I said, the story, the way it ends, and it's like it left you on this cliffhanger where this main, and I'm not gonna spoil it, but this main character who you've loved is like you're like, what's going on? Like what how are they gonna play this out? That's what I think I loved about it. Is like, could they let me down in Infinite? Yeah, they probably will because of the backlash, but I love the cliffhanger, and I
Yeah.
love that they took characters that you love and went, we're gonna throw you in a completely different direction we've never done it, and that's why you had, people like Jesse, and him and I fight over this because he's just like, we don't fight because we never do that, but like we definitely disagree on this. Like he's just like, no, what they did was stupid. I'm like, no, what they did was genius.
I'm on
Shut
Team
up.
Derek on this one. Down with
Yeah.
Jesse.
Sorry, Jesse.
Sorry,
buddy.
Jesse.
He's always handing you those clown shoes now.
Yeah, screw that guy.
A couple other games that jumped
He's
out
not
at me.
wrong though. He's not wrong.
No, he's not.
99% of my posts deserve those shoes.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
He's given those out a lot. Yeah. Another game that jumped out was the TMNT Shredder's Revenge. Of course, we've
Ooh.
seen this revealed before,
Yes.
My
and now
God.
now April apparently is a
Yeah.
playable character.
Show us Casey Jones.
And but it now says 2022. I thought this was an end of the year game, which is a little
Oh,
bit.
did it? I didn't even catch
Yeah,
that. Damn it.
no,
All right,
we're-
whatever. It's
yeah,
fine.
this
Let it
one's getting pushed.
cook. Let it
Either
cook.
either the trailer said it or Geoff said it to introduce it. But
Well, either way, yeah, April's just a cool addition because it's just they've never had her in any of them.
it just looks like a really awesome arcade Ninja Turtles
and
game.
you can give
I really can't
pizza
So
to
good.
one of the other turtles when they're down. So
That's
that's
right.
pretty cool.
When a friendly player is down, you can go help revive them with pizza, which that's fantastic.
Absolutely.
There was this game called Sentry, which we've actually seen revealed before, but they showed I think more of a cinematic trailer for this. There might have been little shots of gameplay. It's hard to tell if it was gameplay or not. But that comes out November 18th. That has a release date now. So if you want to go check that out, if you're into dragons, it looked a little bit like
I like
Panzer
dragons.
Dragoon, a little bit like almost like dogfighting style dragon game. But anyway, you can go check that one out if you like dragons. Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga, which by the way looks great. Lego games I think are a lot of fun, especially when you're playing with kids or friends or whatever. And it's very funny. I love their kind of humorous take on stories that we're all very familiar with. I love all of that stuff. I am perplexed. Maybe Kyle, our resident Star Wars insider, can help me with this. I am perplexed as to what is taking so long with the game that has mostly already been done. I don't understand.
I will say that TT, the developers, they said that they've hit back onto the combat a lot of times, and they've chosen to go with what they call their most involved and robust combat system ever. So I think that
My kids just want to hit the square button over and over.
Yeah, it ain't
No?
gonna be for your kids no more. I think it's gonna be for us who grew up on that dumb
That's
game.
fine
So,
too. That's
so I
crazy
think
to
it's gonna
get
be
off.
like I don't think it's gonna be like The Witcher 3 or like Bloodborne or like something like hard or various degrees.
You have a
of, like,
stamina
difficult.
meter now.
No. It's not gonna be anything like that. But like, I think that they're really going for like, I think they were playing around with the camera a lot too. It seemed like, and now
It's
they've
gonna
gone for this
say
almost
dead
like,
real big on the screen when you die.
yeah,
Death.
big time, yeah, right. And you lose everything.
Permadeath.
Yeah, you don't get to use Princess Leia anymore. She's dead forever after you kill her. Yeah, I can't make any excuses. This is ridiculous. They've made so much money off these games. Like, this is all they've been working on for like what feels like, I don't know, 3 or 4 years. I don't know. Like it's
not new games either. Like they're retreading some of these great Star Wars Lego games.
Yeah.
And they're adding a few new chapters to it. Like I
mean, I know they're not those games that came out already, but I'm from the same mind thinking like you've done it already, you know. So like to reapply it to like what your new ideas.
Maybe they're trying to
here.
make the new trilogy more interesting than the actual movies.
Wow, don't say stuff
Okay,
like that.
all right.
You
Now
say
you've
stuff
gone
like
too
that,
far.
and it's mean and it's not true.
I mean, come on, the original trilogy is the best. Let's just be honest.
Whatever. You sound like every boomer that's alive right now.
Okay, boomer.
Yeah.
I'm not
All
even
right.
the biggest Star Wars fan, but I'm just saying.
One of the funniest pivots during this opening live was going from Lego Star Wars, which is funny and lighthearted, and the trailer showed some of the funny moments, into the Outlast trials, which was terrifying and disturbing.
Yeah.
Like faces coming apart and all kinds of disturbing stuff. So I've never been a big fan. I've never gotten into the Outlast games, but the Outlast trials come out in
the delivery of like how the story was showing in the trailer gave me huge BioShock vibes. Was that just me, or
I got Manhunt vibes for some reason?
Okay.
Yeah, it's more Manhunt or Condemned if y'all.
But I was getting like horror BioShock vibe. Like if BioShock turned into a straight horror game, like I don't know, there was something about the way that the trailer was sort of like presenting itself gave me like BioShock vibes.
I'm pretty sure the first game was like a hide and seek game, right? Like you
couldn't
even attack or anything. Yeah.
Well, it was just really bizarre to go from Lego to Outlast to DokeV, which is like, as Dan said in the chat, about as Korean of a game as you're ever going to see.
Yep.
DokeV to me is, at least visually, I have no idea if this game is going to be fun. It's the same folks who made that what's it called?
Black Desert?
Black Desert, thank you.
Oh, is it?
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Okay.
It's the same company.
Weird turn for them.
Super.
But this game is what Pokemon should look like. I don't know if it's any good. I know there's monster collecting. I know there's an adventure aspect and a city.
I gotta say, besides the music, I was actually into it because I was like, this is visually pretty cool.
Really
that music didn't pump you up?
No.
But dude, right, the visuals were like, what is this? This looks great.
Yeah.
The city looked good. The way your character could kind of float with that little digital umbrella. I was like, this is what Pokemon needs to do. It actually reminded me of remember the Pokemon movie, the Pikachu Detective movie? It kind of had that vibe to it. And I was like, dude, if they would make a Pikachu Detective Pokemon movie that looks like this, holy smokes.
Because the actual like world and like the map you're exploring looks just like real life. Like it looks like a real life place, but then like the characters are kind of like doll looking, and then you have like these Pokemon looking creatures. Like it's a lot of different styles.
And it makes me mad because y'all put this in my head that it is a better looking Pokemon because we just got Icarus like the other week or whatever. And like the game was chugging while they were showing it off, you know, like it was empty and barren.
You put
and like,
which is
and I'm over here like, well, I think it's gonna be fun, you know. And I see this trailer and I go, damn it.
Yeah,
like,
I don't, you know,
and there's no excuses because Nintendo and Game
Pokemon
Freak, they've made
Game
so
Freak,
much money. They've got so much money to work with for these Pokemon games, and you
They're
put these
all
games side by
Scrooge
side.
so hard over
it just
there.
has to be that they don't let them spend over a certain amount of money. It has to be.
Maybe.
Like I just don't get it. I don't get it. I don't know.
Well, and they probably don't want to change things too much because they sell fine the way they are. It's kind of like Call of Duty, where it's
this
like
new one is very different.
Call of Duty's never going to change a lot, even though people like gamers who don't even play Call of Duty will be like, same trash every year. Yeah, because it sells. Like if you
it
change
won't be a
too much,
third-person action
lose.
Some
RPG.
franchises hit a frequency of mass appeal and they never deviate from the frequency.
But this
that's
this Pokemon Legends game does look drastically different than the rest.
No, it looks like it'll play differently, but it doesn't look different, in my opinion. I think it still looks kind of like the same
art style and like
it's fully but I'm saying this is like the first, I'm pretty sure, fully open Pokemon game, open world Pokemon.
Yes, gameplay wise, the exploration piece, it's going to be different. But the way it
looks like
it
trash.
looks just like
no, of course.
And I hate, and people kept on pointing out, it's like, I mean, Breath of the Wild came out 4 years ago, and it looks like 10 times better in this game.
Yes.
It's like, okay,
it does.
I'm gonna guess
you're right.
I'm guessing even the Wii U version of Breath of the Wild probably looks way better than this. So I think this looks great. We didn't get any details on release window or consoles. We have no idea. But it still is one to keep an eye on.
Cool.
Definitely coming to PC because they've got history with Black Desert, but they also put Black Desert on consoles. So
they do.
I would expect to see this at least on Xbox and PlayStation.
Black
I'm
Desert
pretty sure they doubled down and said this is a single player adventure, that it wasn't like an MMO or online or anything like that.
Yeah, I think DokeV has been being described as a monster collecting single player open world adventure game. So we didn't get a ton of different environments or a lot of different monsters. It
Long
was very
trailer,
much like it was a very long trailer, but it seemed like a pretty vertical slice in terms of the environment and the monsters they were using. So whatever, it looks really cool. I'm gonna guess this game's a little ways away though. So we will see. Jurassic World Evolution 2 has a release date of November 9th, which I liked the first one. And I do believe this one's coming to consoles, although I didn't confirm that in my notes here, but definitely PC for sure with the style of game that it is. Another story trailer for Far Cry 6. We were talking about this in the chat where it's like, at what point are you over revealing a game? Like more Far Cry 6
This
story.
is the point.
This is it. This is the
This
point.
is it. This is the
All
point.
right,
so
maybe
here's
even
my-
2 trailers ago.
Yeah.
And this may have just been, Jeff having to do Jeff's job, and that's overhype something because Ubisoft's paying him. But I will say this, he did intrigue me when he said, if you're looking for a story-driven game, and I was like, And like that's what he was hyping up, is like, this is gonna have a good story. So I'm curious if that's again just, which I think that's what it is. It's just Ubisoft just throwing out bull crap to convince people that this is going to be different, or if they really have gone, okay, yeah, it's still going to be a playground, still going to be fun, and we're going to have this outstanding villain, but we're also going to have a good narrative, and you're going to care about the character you're playing as, because that's one of the things they've always failed at, is they've never made me care about who I'm controlling.
The villains are always interesting, but the lead character's always
like by the time the game ends, I'm like, well, I wish the villain would have won. That's
sure.
I mean, in 5 he kind of does, right? Doesn't he?
I didn't want to spoil it, Dan.
I mean, listen.
Well, if you play
if
you play New Dawn, you get a better overall view of what actually happens. It's pretty good story, by the way. But this
New Dawn's fun.
Yeah, I do like the story of New Dawn, even though I didn't love the game, but I did like the story. I'm with you. I think Far Cry 6 is looking intriguing, and Giancarlo Esposito, I mean, he has some of the most iconic villains, this decade. So,
which they're definitely hyping that, and they should.
Do y'all like how wacky the weapons are getting? Do you like CD player throwers and rocket launcher?
Macarena,
well,
Macarena.
New Dawn had the CD player. I don't know if 5 did, but New Dawn definitely had where I was just shooting discs at everybody.
5 was more grounded. Yeah.
We'll see.
So I'm okay.
I don't know if I'm
with
sold
it.
on that stuff yet, but I'm here for it. I'm gonna play it. I play all these games.
If they give it some kind of like thing where, hey, we are this rebellion group, we've got very limited resources, and we're gonna duct tape stuff together with these. Then if they really sell me on it, then I'm in.
I think that's what they're doing.
I think that's what it is. Yeah.
I mean, I was gonna be racist. I'll just stop.
Yeah, just stop. You already did your one.
You've already met your quota. You've met your quota.
Vampire the Masquerade.
They're brown, so they're poor.
Okay, Vampire. Oh my gosh, the Masquerade blood.
Shut him down, Tim. Shut him down.
Early access hits next week, September 7th. Actually, it's like in 2 weeks. And I think Kyle, you made this comment. All these Vampire Masquerade spinoffs are going to come out before the sequel.
Didn't like the last time. The last time we heard about Vampire the Masquerade 2 is that it was like indefinitely delayed.
Dude, how many Masquerade games have they announced? I feel like it's been like 17 of them.
It is 17. You're right.
Like how
That's
many?
The exact number.
And like I never got
none
to
of
play
them
Vampire the
that
Masquerade,
great.
but I know so much about it, and I've seen a lot of like people like stream it and stuff like that, and I think it's an infinitely interesting world, and I thought it was gonna be so fun to play, and I thought we would have already been playing it by now. And I'm at like peak levels of over it at this point, so
like
I don't want to play a
the director was fired. Like they've started from
it's a
scratch.
mess.
Like it's
a mess, dude.
It's interesting. I feel like watching the trailer for Blood Hunt, this newest trailer for it, because I know it's been revealed before, but it is coming to early access. But watching the trailer for it, I kept thinking like this game would have done great like 12 years ago when the Twilight series was big. It just feels a little like. I don't know.
The animations are very, very poor. You can even tell in the trailers. I was like, "Oh, this is not gonna be a pretty game." Like as far as how it runs,
it's
early
access. It's gonna be an early access in September.
It's how it's gonna play. You can just tell. I doubt, unless this game makes millions and millions of dollars, which I don't think it will.
I think
they're not gonna.
They're really banking on like the cult like fans coming out and buying this game, and
they're in a position
they're capitalizing on a dying genre, like that's like beyond its peak now, the hero genre, like the hero shooter or whatever. And I just I think everything is doomed to fail with this game.
They're in a position where they need to deliver absolutely excellent game because right now the hype for it I don't think is super high. So if they deliver something amazing, then people start talking about it, and it could build momentum during early access. But
I just don't think looking at and this wasn't the first time I've seen it. It's like the second or third time I've seen it. I'm like, you can tell by the animations. I'm like, this is going to be a janky, terrible game.
Someone saw Overwatch 5 years ago. Yeah, that's right. Someone saw Overwatch 5 years ago and like, hey, we have the Vampire the Masquerade license. Let's do
it.
Derek, if this gets a 7 out of 10,
5 years too late and cobbled together. Yeah, I don't know.
If it was a single player RPG, open world RPG game like the Goat Greedfall, sure, but it's not. So
you mean like Vampire the Masquerade proper? Yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
I never played it. But I do have a game that I think Dan might play on his PC, despite how he always insults his own PC, and that is Park Beyond, which looks a little bit like Planet Coaster, but way wackier.
Yeah.
It looks very silly with kind of some fantasy elements in there, magic, monsters, different kinds of stuff. But it looks like a fun roller coaster amusement park sim game.
I'm wondering what the extent to, because they basically are trying, the way they were selling it in the trailer was you're making these rides use your imagination. These could not be rides that could be created in real life.
Some of the examples were there was a colossal squid hanging on or an octopus or something underneath a roller coaster, all kinds of different crazy stuff going on. So
the Ferris wheel had 15 actual wheels all connected somehow.
It looks like it could be fun. We'll see. Jet the Far Shore now has a release date, which is October 5th. I mean, this is a pretty indie looking game, but it actually has some intriguing visual elements to it as you're jetting around the planet to explore. It's that one where you don't really do fighting. It's all about exploration and scanning the environment and creatures and avoiding conflict. So
I feel like it's going to have to rely on a really excellent story.
It is one of the only console exclusives for the PlayStation platforms this fall.
Yes.
Nice.
Take that and chew on. I mean, take that Xbox. You know,
suck it, Game Pass.
You guys get what? Oh, you get Halo and Forza. We get Jet the Far Shore and Solar Ash. What's up?
Yeah, boom.
Ponies for the win. Speaking of Sony, Horizon Forbidden West got another little view of that. We got to hear from the developer, and he said we can finally confirm that it's coming out in February. We're like, oh. All right, cool.
But we already knew this, Tim, that it was 2022.
I didn't know this was news. Yeah, I guess February is the news.
Talked about how they were hoping to hit holiday, and there was back and forth. We weren't sure we were gonna hit it, but we can finally confirm. The way he worded it, it was almost a Michael Scott moment when he made it sound like Meredith died. He's like, the doctors did everything they could, and he's like, why she's gonna make it like this? He worded it in that same way. He was like, and guys, we can finally confirm it's going to release on February 18th.
She had a massive stroke of luck, and she's going to make it through.
I know. So anyway, it is coming out February 18th, which as far as timing goes, the first Horizon came out in February of 2017. Sure. So I'm cool with that. I think that's great. It's just it does put Sony in a weird spot where they are, of course, we know they're crushing it with hardware sales. Yeah. No diss to them on that. I mean, but where is the software, man? They have
careful.
Third party.
Careful.
Third party, Tim.
Are you guys play Ratchet and Clank? Come on,
dude. Let me just say this for real though. People have said third party from the Microsoft point of view for the last 4 years. It's just third party. It's the best. It's my favorite platform. You just play third party. And now I'm seeing, and I know Dan, you're kind of saying that tongue in cheek, a lot of actual ponies, because none of us here are that sold on our console of choice that we dislike the others. We're all pretty agnostic for the most part, but for actual Sony fans who are for some reason super loyal to that company, it's hilarious to listen to them and watch them try to stumble over the excuses for this. Now, I think Sony is kind of dropping the ball for this holiday season. Are they still going to sell consoles? Of course. They're dropping
I'll debate you a little bit, because here's my thing. PlayStation doesn't really a lot of times release big hitters during the fall. Not anymore. I'm not saying they've never done it.
That's fair.
They usually drop them until February or April, May. That's when they drop their big guns. And so
they are more of a spring, summer. That's true.
And I think that's probably, I really do think they really wanted to have a big, I don't think they're against it. I think they really did want to have a big game like Forza, Forbidden West to come out, Horizon Forbidden West to come out
They're banking
in
on it, yeah.
the fall. But I think they also knew there's a good
It's-
chance this isn't going to happen.
It's probably the right
They're
call.
not gonna rush
And
this
it's
one.
not
Yeah.
a big deal. Now,
They've-
as far as the comparison, I saw, because I'm in PlayStation groups, even with my new Facebook account, and so I actually saw a post like, "Is this a big deal that Xbox?" Because Damon Hatfield was actually the one that said it. He's like, "Xbox has all the big hits this
Console
fall,
exclusives, right.
yeah, but where's the PlayStation?" Every single one of these ponies said the exact same thing. We got Demon Souls, we've got Returnal, we've got, what does Xbox have? Well, here's again, that's blind. It's blind. All of it's blind. Xbox has a bunch of smaller games, but they're
Right.
constantly hitting us. Like, we've been talking about the last few months, like all these great games that have come to Game Pass, and even some like Death's Door, which is not on Game Pass, which is an outstanding game that you can't play on PlayStation. And then you guys are
The
going to talk
Ascent
about
is a big one.
Psychonauts, which is not on the PlayStation 5, or it's not made available for the PS5 as far as
Isn't it?
updates.
I thought it
It's
was
just PS4.
PS4,
Oh, okay.
they didn't do any like upgrades for it like they do
So
for
you can
Series
play
X.
it. It's just last gen version, basically.
Sure.
Yeah. So stuff like that. But my point is that I feel like both of them have a lot to offer. Like, I still think
do.
the PlayStation has a lot to offer. I just don't think it's as big of a deal. Like, they haven't dropped the big one yet, because I do think Ratchet and Clank is
Big deuce.
okay. I don't really care about Ratchet and
It's
Clank. I
definitely
tried to
okay.
play it, but it's
It's a
not
really
It's a
good
swimming in
game.
7 game for me.
Dude, it's really good. You guys are crazy, but
I'm
it is
wondering-
not a
so
system seller.
I'm wondering if
That's
like
my
right.
point.
It's
I'm
super
wondering-
quality. I like it, but
I'm
Very
wondering if
It's not
Sony's
winning
a
game
little
of the year.
scared right now, and I mean for quite a while now they've been very much like, listen, we want our first party games to like be pristine. Like, we don't want these things coming out janky in any way,
respect
shape,
that.
or form. So you need to push this back and just spend a little more time. That's okay. They've been like that for a while.
If Days Gone didn't come out.
Sure.
And other ones like that.
They
It's like they
missed-
know which ones are their big bad boys. Like, they would never let Ghost of Tsushima 2 come out and be Days Gone.
But if they
Like, it would
waited for
have to
Days
be-
Gone, but if they waited for Days Gone, like where it ended up, if they just gave it a little more extra time, that game probably would have reviewed a little better, and it would have then sold better.
I'm gonna go with a no,
I think it
because
would've.
the characters were trash, and I don't think the weaknesses of that game are something they could fix unless they took a step back and went, okay, we have to acknowledge Deacon is trash. His little
He's a
bozo
he's a
brother is
boring
garbage.
character.
Yeah, like,
Well,
that's
I'm not
the
saying
stuff
it
they
would have
would've had to
sold like
change.
another 5 million. I'm just saying it would have
I'm
sold.
just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I actually played Days Gone again.
Right.
I already
Yeah,
beat
you
it
did.
twice, but I'm playing it again
Somehow.
now tonight. I was playing it on PC, and I was still blown away by like how beautiful the game is, especially on PC. And just, it's a fun game that I can't deny. But I'm saying, as far as quality level, even gameplay wise,
sure.
it's
Yeah.
not up there with
No,
their
it's not.
spectacular games.
Well, back to the idea of PlayStation for this holiday. The reason I think it is significant and it is okay for us to say, Sony, you kind of let us down this year. It's not because there's not something just in that October through December window. That's part of it. There isn't really anything of note right there. But they don't even have an iconic game from earlier in the year they can point to. Like last year, they didn't have a big holiday window release, but they had a series of absolutely stunning masterpieces that was like what you could push through the holiday season. Last of Us Part 2, Ghost of Tsushima were more than enough to let Sony have their exclusives they could point to in the holiday. This year, I don't think we have that. We've got some pretty good niche games. If you're really into cartoon platformers, Ratchet and Clank is one of the best of them. If that's really your thing, it really is fantastic. But it's not a system seller. It's not for everybody.
Yeah.
Returnal is a very niche game, despite its high quality, which I do think it's high quality. And yeah, you could
It
point to
is.
stuff like Demon Souls from the end of last year. That's totally fine. Those aren't low quality, but none of them are in my opinion, a big enough wave for you to ride the rest of the year. I think they're still missing some stuff. And I just think it's as unique for them. Almost every year they've had something huge from the spring or summer that was such a big hit, so high quality that it maintained conversation through holiday, and they don't have that.
They need the first parties to hit that quality mark because also Game Pass. I think they're a little scared of Game Pass, perhaps. So they need something to compete against that, you know?
First years and new console generations are shaky at best.
Yeah.
So like it's hard to like get those like big hits out or whatever. But like I say that, and to Xbox's credit, I mean they're coming out with a new Forza game and a new Halo game. Those are big. It's a big first year for a new gen for an Xbox console.
I think at the core of what I'm arguing is that there's an ebb and flow to this whole industry, and anytime people take such strong sides, I think it's really silly. Because I think we've seen Nintendo have seasons where they are just crushing it and they can't be stopped. And then they get quiet for a while. And I think Sony has had several years in a row. It's been very impressive. And right now they're kind of quiet. And even though I was criticizing them, I truly at the core feel like that's actually okay. Because when we get Horizon, we're going to love it. When we get God of War Ragnarok or whatever it's going to officially be called, we're going to love it.
Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2. Listen, these are going to be great, and I'm okay with Sony having.
Know about.
That's just it's okay for Sony to have a quiet year. Just like the last few years of Xbox from Microsoft have been quieter, but if you think they're going to stay quiet, I think we're just at the beginning of a massive wave with all their acquisitions. We're going to start seeing some insane console exclusives.
It's going to be overwhelming how much content they're pushing out.
I just think
those two will
side is ridiculous, to be honest with you, because there's ebb and flow, there's push and pull, there's patterns to this. And I criticize Nintendo too when they get real quiet. They've been a little quiet with games that I love, but it's fine because they will swing back and deliver stuff that I love. So anyway.
Well, that's why I was defending Derek the other day. What was our resident pony complaining about the other day? And he was coming at you, and I was like, dude, Derek's right. Like, you're being ridiculous. Like,
we fight so much I don't even know what we fight about.
It was him complaining about or it was like a screenshot like something for Insomniac.
We were praising Insomniac for their incredible efficiency and high quality. And then as part of the same meme it was, but look what 343 can't do. Halo sucks. Microsoft's stupid. You Xbots are it. Like that's kind of what it turned into.
Yeah. And but he was saying it's like praise, and I'm like, but you're also saying F these guys, and it's like so it's passive aggressive. Like that's what you're being passive aggressive. You're acting like a child is what you're doing.
Which Derek loves a nice passive aggressive.
My favorite. I will say
Speaking my language.
I do like that Nate Bacon actually said something, and he didn't whine or anything. He just said, hey, FYI, you're forgetting that Halo has multiplayer. None of these games that Insomniac touches has any type of multiplayer or co-op play.
Good for Nate. That's a good call out.
So it is a good call.
Which is like another game to develop, by the way. They're so in-depth.
And there's a lot to it, especially with like Halo multiplayer, which is there's a like when I talk about
legacy,
Halo,
you can't tarnish that. It has to be perfect when it comes out.
Nostalgia not just built into the campaigns. That's what I get nostalgic about. But there's a lot of people that are like, they make a big deal about Halo multiplayer, which I enjoyed it when I was younger, but now I don't give a crap. Like they could come out
for like the first 2 or 3 weeks, and then everyone will get really good, and I'll stop playing.
Yeah, totally.
Like
but
Halo
those
Infinite,
2 weeks will be amazing.
Yeah. Halo Infinite, like I'll be judging the campaign way harsher than I'll judge the
Halo. Just like Derek, Halo is the campaign for me.
Derek, you're right, and their multiplayer is actually. When people are like, "Well, it's the same as before," it's actually not. It is a completely new approach to a free multiplayer. They're gonna have season-based content. It's gonna be very, very different than what we've seen from Halo before. So they've essentially, and I think they've done this every time. They've built it from the ground up as a brand new multiplayer experience. And it's just going to be way different. And so you're right.
I just feel like 343 gets crapped on a lot. I get tired of repeating myself. I don't understand it. I feel like Halo 4 had an amazing story, amazing gameplay. Halo 5 had amazing gameplay with a solid story that ended, in my opinion, really good.
And they both had good
don't understand the.
And I think their creature design is good. Is it the Prometheans? Is that the new race or whatever in 4? I think they have a really cool design. Like it's
just people riding that Bungie,
I think that anytime a big director or a big thing changes, like people they're tribalism. Like it's like, oh, but I missed the Bungie days, Right, but it's like to me that all still feels like Halo to me. But whatever.
It's good.
Well, listen,
But-
it's easy to be divided among these console lines, but thankfully, Fortnite is here to bring us all together.
God damn it, Tim.
Can we not?
That's
Are we
And
really
segue.
talking about this?
What Fortnite has done for us, and especially for you, Derek, we've learned in this episode you need this more than anybody.
Yeah, okay, maybe you're
You
right.
can
yeah,
go
maybe we
into
do need this.
Fortnite and you can watch Martin Luther King Jr.'s "I Have a Dream" speech in a reimagined Washington D.C. in the Fortnite game,
Wow.
and there'll be
More boxes
points
checked.
of interest that you can explore, mini quests to complete. I mean, this is what Fortnite's been missing: is history, good history
Yeah.
lessons.
Is there time to do little mini missions while there's all that chaos going on?
Probably.
Dude, this is one of the funniest things I've ever heard
So,
added to a
I don't
video.
I think
understand.
in a general sense, it's fine because it's like, you know
It-
what,
it's fine.
if you get some kids to actually pay attention and be listening and watching, and they're like, oh, this is actually interesting, and then they go at, like, you know, on their own spare time reading about, like, that's great, that's cool, but
Yes.
it's just weird.
It's weird.
It's just weird. I don't know.
I
It's
am
just
not
weird.
opposed to this. So if you're listening to this, like, wow, you have a problem. And of course, I don't have a
No,
problem
if
with
this works, I'm all about it.
Listen, I am just like I think it's interesting the way Ubisoft adds the discovery mode to their games. I don't think it's
Mm.
required, but it's interesting. And for folks who
Yeah.
are interested in learning, I think that's great. This is just a weird one. Like with Assassin's Creed, I get it because it's history based and it's real
Yeah,
life
yeah.
historical characters, so it
Fortnite
makes
is
more
not.
sense. Fortnite just seems like such a random. Oh, it's the most popular game. Let's put in something historical from Martin Luther King Jr. in there. I don't know.
It's also concerning because, like, if you can still run around and, like, do Fortnite things, like,
Yeah.
you can totally see people doing disrespectful shit, like, while that's and then, like, that's gonna spin out of control, and they try to cancel who that person.
Really
like,
hope they thought about all this stuff.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
really,
same.
I'm just,
Yeah, I hope they this might just be a mode that you can go into that actually doesn't have the Fortnite
okay,
activity.
I don't
you
know.
just want
but-
it better. I bet it
Yeah.
better games.
Otherwise, if you can build in this, they better look out. There's going to be some stuff happening.
I think I zoned out when they announced this.
That's fair. Well, no, this was a separate announcement from
This
Gamescom.
was
Oh,
mid your COVID.
I saw
diagnosis.
something, but I definitely did not pay attention. I was like, oh, I think I rolled my eyes.
This
like,
was
really,
this
guys?
was peak COVID diagnosis for you. So you were just
True.
you're in a.
The only other thing I'll mention is that the timing is a little weird unless I'm missing some kind of anniversary. I feel like this makes more sense around Martin Luther King Jr. Day,
Sure.
but maybe I'm missing some historically significant date coming up here. I don't know. Anyway, there you go. You can go learn some stuff in Fortnite, which you probably didn't know you could do.
Everybody.
By the way, speaking of Horizon Zero Dawn from earlier, you do have a new 60 FPS mode on PS5 for that game.
Finally.
They
If I
added
had
that.
all the time in the world, I'd go back and replay it.
Correct.
I really
Well,
enjoy it. I think
we'll
it's
I
before
just beat
February.
it on PC, so I will not be. And I
Derek
got
will-
to experience that on PC, so I'm not doing
Uh,
that again.
Suda51 said No More Heroes 3 was the final entry in the series. He's done. Travis Touchdown is retiring after this game. So there you
He's
go.
putting down the football.
But if you know anything about Suda51, don't believe anything he says about anything. He's crazy.
No,
Yeah.
because he'll change his mind in about a year.
He's crazy. Dying
He's-
Light Platinum Edition, as in the first Dying Light game, is coming to Switch, which is going to include all the expansions, all the DLC. It's going to have Switch-specific controls, touchscreen, gyro support. No release date that I could find. I looked for it a little bit, but full Dying Light experience, and they're promising that's going to perform well too on the Switch. So there you go. And I don't think it's the cloud version, unless I missed that major detail. I couldn't find that, as I think it's the real game. So
Interesting.
there you go, Dying Light Platinum Edition on the Switch. And there's a lot of content for that, by the way. It's like over 100 hours worth
They're
of
still making new things.
DLC.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of DLC, lots of add-ons outside of the expansions, just kind of like extra.
Excited. I already pre-ordered Dying Light 2, so I'm ready. I'm
Yeah.
ready.
Speaking of cloud-based stuff, though, Xbox One users can try out console cloud gaming, cloud streaming this fall. So you could play, in theory, some Series X or S only games that weren't on your Xbox One. You can play those on your Xbox One via streaming. So that beta, I believe, is hitting this fall. I don't know the exact date, but if you still haven't had a chance to upgrade your system, like myself, and you're still rocking an Xbox One, one of those consoles from that generation, you could try out game streaming this fall. I don't know how that's going to look. I don't know if it'll be a big announcement, but if that interests you, go look it up and find those details. And lastly, Flight Simulator is getting an expansion that's going to add competitive racing. This game kind of needed something outside of just exploring and looking and saying, oh, how cool. Some people like that, and that's all they want. They want the real experience. I like the idea of some kind of competition. So that's cool.
I imagine they're gonna have to downgrade the graphics, but that's impressive as heck to me that they're gonna get multiplayer in a game that looks as good as that game does.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how they do it because you can do co-op now. You can play together now.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize. Yeah. Wow.
But yeah, it depends on what elements are part of this competitive racing. Is it like rings you're flying through in the sky? Is there like what does it look like? I don't know.
Sure.
But that's gonna be called Reno Air Races. It comes out this fall, and it is separate from their already announced Top Gun expansion that they're supposedly still planning to release this year. So there you go. Flight Simulator.
Tom Cruise expansion.
The old Tom Cruise expansion. That sounds dirty for some reason. All right.
Scientology expansion.
Yeah. By the way, in our chat today, we were reflecting on the craziness of Scientology, specifically with Tom Cruise. If you guys haven't watched that video where it's like essentially an uncut video of Tom Cruise from, what was it, 15 years ago maybe?
Yeah.
And it's some interview he was doing, and it really does seem like he's auditioning for a crazy person role or a villain or something. Like listening to him talk about society and how Scientology plays a role and how they're the only ones who can fix things. Like it's insane. Like
That makes
I like
him sound
that
like
guy.
a
I like
Unabomber or something.
Yeah.
I like his movies, but when he starts talking as a human being, I'm like, what?
Well, he
I
doesn't
love
do a lot
her,
of
man.
interviews.
I love her, man.
My theory stands that he actually died a long time ago, and
Yeah.
it's now a robot being
He's a reptile person. Yeah.
by someone else. But who knows? All right, let's close things out with stuff we are watching or playing. I want to start real quick with just something that I've been dabbling in, Conan Exiles, because with all the Valheim stuff, I wanted to try one of the more popular survival games and building games that's out there. I actually did some Google searches, like what games let you do building like Valheim. I want to build more stuff. And Conan Exiles actually does have some really awesome building stuff, and there's so many really cool mods that users have made that adds tons of building materials. You can even create like entire pirate towns and huge boats, and they added all kinds of decorations that actually you can turn it essentially into a pirate game if you want to. So there's lots of really cool stuff people have done. If you've got the PC version of this, I don't know how the console version handles mods, if it does at all. I don't know. But this game is fine. It's really interesting. I don't think I'm going to play it much more now that I've gotten a feel for the gameplay loop. The combat's actually not bad. There's lots of different weapons to use, and they did a pretty good job with the combat system. The death punishment thing isn't too bad, but you do have to run back to get your stuff if you die. So I think this game is fine, but there's too much other stuff to play. I think I got my fill of it, but I do like it. How
are the wiener physics, Tim?
I don't know. It defaults to not full nudity, so you'd have to really go out of your way to take a look at that. I'm not sure actually even how to do that.
Sure you don't, Tim. Sure you don't.
I don't have time for that.
Good cover.
Tim's got the extra big mod.
I do. What if there is a mod?
That's what I bought.
Big.
Extra meaty mod.
That's why Tim bought a PC.
That was it. That was the only reason.
He needs that 390 for like the veins and just the detail, you know what I mean?
Oh boy.
That was yeah. But yeah, if you're interested in Conan Exiles, and yes, it notoriously does have nudity in it, but at least when I hit single player server, it defaulted to nudity totally off.
Oh, so okay.
I guess
because the kids.
Probably. So
yes.
I don't know if that's a US thing. Like, I don't know. I've played the game enough now, and I feel like I get the feeling for the game, and
I just don't understand why you play bad games like all the time.
Oh, that's funny coming from you.
Wow.
That's funny coming from you.
Yeah.
Greedfall. All right. I think it was like $2 on a recent Steam sale. It was one of those ones that I bought and I installed.
There's a reason.
Yeah, you're probably right. It's not amazing. I want to hear about the Riders Republic demo. I downloaded it but didn't play it yet. So Kyle, is it as cool and awesome and bro?
It's tubular.
Super brotastic for sure.
Yeah, it's tubular.
The beta opens with like a series of like very long cutscenes setting up this like brofil world, you know.
Oh, there's Riders Republic lore.
Yeah, there's so much
absolutely.
lore. I'm not even kidding you. Like, it sounds like I'm saying, like, there's so much lore and world building, and it's like it's almost obnoxious. In fact, it is exactly that.
Dude, I pulled a Derek and I skipped over all of that. I was like, stop
I didn't
It was
realize it
basically
skipped
Derek
way
the
later,
game.
and I go, boy, if I really like if I knew that skip was there, I'd probably have a much different opinion about this game. I like it fine. I would have bought it if it was coming out next week like it was supposed to. There is no way in hell I'm buying this game at 10/28 at October 28th with all these other games coming out.
Yeah.
Like I'll never get to this game. Like I'll buy it on a deep sale when it's $20 or something like that, and no one's playing it.
It does seem it's fun though. Like it feels good.
It's
like
there are some
it's
very
definitely
cool.
fun.
It's fun, yeah. Like
Yeah.
you're not really occupying the world with people. It's like their ghost data.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
whatever they did, like you're just kind of watching that. Even what they said, like over the mic, like you'll kind of like capture what they said and kind of put it in your game. So it's kind of like Drivatar, from like Horizon, if you will.
You'll just see random people just like ragdoll like into the ground, just their body
will, like
flipping
purposely
over.
like hurt themselves really bad. Like, it's that part's fun, and I think mostly the controls are like all right. Like it took me a second to understand what the biking wanted me to do. I think the jetpacking is a lot of fun. The skiing and snowboarding, like it just kind of took me a second. The tricks kind of took me a second, but like I got it. It's pretty simplistic stuff, and I think they really just kind of want you out there like with your friends, like playing around. Which there's totally a space for that, just not like when like Battlefield's coming out and like all these other like
end of October,
like, all these. It's like that's release season, Like this was a fun summer game that just kept on getting kicked down the road. And
but if you're not a fan of Derek and Sasan just bro this, bro that to each other, that's what the cutscenes are. So you can just skip right over it. Just skip over the bro stuff.
Someone called me a ledge, as in a legend. That's what they said,
he said I skipped immediately. I was like, I could get out of here.
I was mad. I got mad immediately. I was like,
we know this is a Derek and Sasan game if the highest level you reach is alpha. Then we know.
It's super colorful. And
I don't know.
Really good too.
I might have to change Alpha AF to Ledge.
Oh,
Please
man,
don't.
Do not take that. You're taking the wrong lessons from this.
That's amazing.
I swear to God, I'll punch
that
you in
would
the
be
dick. I will
that
punch
would
you in the
be
dick.
that would be amazing. All right, well, Riders
Ledge,
Republic,
bro.
of course, comes out at the end of October, which is a very busy release time. We'll see how that goes for Ubisoft. But is the beta still open now, or is it closed?
I think it's open all week or until like
until
the
20th, until tomorrow. Till tomorrow.
Oh, till tomorrow. Okay.
Oh, so it'll be over by the time you listen.
I think tomorrow. Yeah.
All right, well, Ghost of Tsushima, though, that game is now out on the PS5. You can get the director's cut, and it's gorgeous, and it looks amazing. And the Iki Island DLC is also available to you, in addition to multiplayer editions. I mean, they added a ton of content for this to give players incentives to come back, not only for the visual improvements, but for the content. And if for some reason people never played the first one, which a lot of people didn't, even though it was very popular, I mean, it is an amazing game. So if you guys played the Iki Island, I know we talked about it a little bit last week already, but any additional thoughts on some of the additional content or the visuals that you've noticed?
I'm probably about 5 hours into the story, maybe a little less. I know, Kyle, you said you finished it, or you're about to finish it?
No,
okay.
I wrapped it up last week.
So yeah, I mean, it's just another. It's basically just more island, a different island, but just another island that's beautiful. It is a little bit different. Like when you come up to the beach right in the beginning, it's a little more almost like tropical looking. And just actually really cool visuals. I don't even want to spoil it, but like right when you like hit the beach, like on that new island, it's actually pretty disturbing. Some of the stuff that you see right there. But yeah, it's just more. It's more Tsushima. If you really like the original, the first like actual main game, you'll like this. There's some extra stuff with the horse. I don't want to get into too many details if you don't want to be spoiled, but the horse.
Don't spoil anything.
There's a horse in this game? You just ruined my experience.
Ghost of Hiroshima.
You don't. There's other things with the horse. So the horse is great horse stuff.
I think the story is really good in this. So like as the story goes on, like and I'm not going to spoil anything, but as it goes on, it's a very personal story about Jin and how he wrestles with the idea that he's at fault for like his father dying.
More details about the past.
Yeah, so he's dwelling as he's back on this island, which was like a big pivotal moment, like in his youth, growing up and stuff like that. And it just drudges up a lot of like really interesting. I came out of this going, Jin is a very well written character. Like he's just like, I liked him in Ghost of Tsushima.
Great.
Like he's really good in that, and he's very well acted. So like that, he has so many more dimensions in this 20-hour DLC. It's just outstanding.
It does rely on you definitely going to a lot of like the question marks and kind of exploring a bit, because you get way more of a well-rounded like perspective of like, because there's some sanctuaries that you find, which is amazing. Please go to the sanctuaries, because there's different animals. The different pets that show up, you can interact with them. And so when he takes out the flute, because he's going to play a song, he talks a little bit about his mom, so like there's a little bit of that kind of going on. And then like Kyle said, like there's some other like there's like these flags that you find around, so then you get a little bit of like extra story about the past and so on and so forth. So it really fleshes things out.
Nice.
And it just seems like there's like a lot. I don't remember in the original one if they even mentioned Iki Island and like having these important events happening on that island.
I don't know.
No, I had always assumed it just happened elsewhere.
On Tsushima. I thought it happened on Tsushima.
Yeah, I, to my knowledge too. I was kind of surprised. I was like, oh, okay, yeah. So a lot of stuff happened on this island that I guess I just never knew about.
It's definitely pivotal for like Jin Sakai and getting his like kind of more rounded out story and getting more details about him. And yeah, I mean, you love the combat. There's just more island to explore. The enemies are definitely harder. Kyle, you weren't lying. They're
yeah, they're way.
like,
you really have to like.
Yeah.
After not playing for a year, I had to like, okay, I have to really sit here and fight some like normie dudes before I do more story missions.
Screw those dudes with the spears, the spear things with like the blades at the end of them.
Oh yeah, the double-sided, yeah.
Yeah, man, screw those dudes. Like they're constantly doing the like no counter moves, like the red when you see the red and they're coming at you, like they pretty much just do that. Right. So yeah, be careful with those dudes.
A lot of rolling and dodging, I imagine.
Yeah, a lot of running around.
Yeah. All right. Well, that sounds pretty freaking amazing. So speaking of Sony, of course, earlier, I know it sounded like I was just coming down hard on them, but they got so many.
How dare you?
So many good games that you could re-experience or experience in a new way, including Ghost of Tsushima, my favorite game from last year. Aliens Fireteam Elite is out, and I know Jeff's not here to talk about it, but Kyle, I think you and Jeff played some of this together. I don't know, Derek or Dan, if you tried Aliens Fireteam.
Nope.
It's fun. I won't dwell on this one long. I mean, like, you're a colonial marines, you're shooting swarms. It's Left 4 Dead with aliens painted on top of it. It's super low budget, but like got a lot of heart. Like tons of like you're just walking through Easter eggs and callbacks. And so if you're a big fan of like the greater Aliens universe, even like the comic books and stuff like that, the books and the novelizations.
Not just the films. Okay, gotcha.
Not even just the film.
Yeah, where does it take place? Chronologically,
I mean, I think it's after everything, if I'm not mistaken, but I haven't really gotten a good read on that. But like, I mean, you're going back and seeing stuff from like Prometheus, which I hate those movies, but like those areas are really cool in the game.
Yeah.
And it's just fun. Like I have a good time. I think it's got big World War Z vibe. So it's like you're obviously go to a choke point and it's like set up turrets and you're gonna like really fight here for a while. Like set up everything and like that's very World War Z and that has a lot of this and. A lot of jump scares. I'm screaming a lot because I get scared easily. But like aliens will just jump out of nowhere and mount you.
Dude, Xenomorphs, screw
like,
those guys.
It's spooky, dude. Yeah, like the game's really dark. I think the game looks pretty good for being as low budget as this, but like there's a lot of like not syncing lips with dialogue. Like your lips don't even move. It's just like people are talking and like they're like stagnant, like NPCs.
The co-op works pretty well, like joining up with people and just
seamless.
Through it.
Yeah, I had no hiccups, no jarringness, no nothing. Jeff and I played like the whole first campaign, and we're on the last mission of the second campaign, and we've had no issues. We hit our first death where we were like, and when you die, you that's it. You have to start the whole mission over again. Missions are about 30 minutes long, so it's like you really need to like be paying attention because if you party wipe, you need to like there's consequences. So
got it.
And it got hard, So I don't know. It's fun. Yeah, I catch it on a sale for sure. Like it's worth catching on a sale. I would say.
Okay. Derek, you've been game bouncing a little bit. I know you said you played Days Gone. Anything else that, especially while you've been quarantined, what's caught your attention?
I mean, I think I've been continuing to play Judgment. About 6.5 hours, and I'm chapter 4, so I'm not even at the middle part of that
it's
game.
like a 40-hour game, so
Yeah, so I'm never gonna make it.
I really believed in you, but I guess I
No, you don't need to believe.
Quarantine's almost over, and he's still not a fortune away from it. It's not gonna
I
happen.
can't even hit double digits in this game.
I mean, I've been quarantined for 4 days, and I think I played 2 hours of Judgment.
That's not gonna.
The main one actually that I played about an hour of Ghost of Tsushima, the new content. I don't really have anything to add there. But for me, I'm really wanting to get through the DLC of Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
That's where I've been really focusing. And I came in the chat at one point and was like, hey, I just want to praise Ubisoft because I really do think this is pretty cool. I bought the gold edition of Assassin's Creed digitally on PS5, but I already own Assassin's Creed Valhalla on PC, but I only own the base game. So I started the DLC on the PS5, and then I just wanted to see if I could do this. And then on my laptop, I booted up my save because they automatically use the cloud save of my PS5 version or my PS5 game on my PC, and it had me in the DLC. And I was in Ireland, and I was
That's
like,
awesome.
oh, cool. I don't own this on PC, but they're saying, oh, you do own this, so you can
Whoa.
continue your playthrough. So I thought
So
that
you
was
must
really
have to
cool.
download something then, right? On the PC version?
I mean, it did download an update, so I don't know if it just had me download the DLC and I didn't know I was. But it let me play where I had left off, and I was like, this is super cool. So that's the main one I'm trying to focus on. But really, when I say I'm bouncing around, I'm kind of back into that how I was a few years ago, where it's like the only games that kind of click are the ones that I don't have to think. So I've been playing Rocket League a little bit. I did have some fun in Forza Motorsport 7. I almost shared this too because I was racing and I was in second on the very last lap, and Kyle was in front of me.
His
And I was
Drivatar.
Yeah, and I was able to ram Kyle into the wall
Would have never happened in real life.
on the last
Never happened.
on the last turn of that. He led the entire race, and I was
Yeah, of
able to
course.
ram him into the wall. And then I ended up getting slowed down because the way I wrecked us, even I couldn't even recover. And some other idiot, FFD 79, passed me. So him and I didn't even finish first, but I just like the fact that I was able to destroy Kyle's
Dude,
hook.
I think
I
that
did-
explains why you've been so nice to him recently. You feel bad about that.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I
Can-
really
Can we
don't.
commend how accurate the AI of Dravatar captures its drivers if I was in first the entire time? Because
You're pretty much always in first.
look
if
at
I'm
that.
Not in
Good
first.
job, Forza. You guys did it.
Whereas
like
every
that
time
it lets
Nestor Funk's
me-
in there, he's just sitting at the starting line, can't figure out which button is to go yet.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool because it lets you know, like Kyle's Drivatar is a level 3. What it means is like his car collection is level 3. So it lets me know he's actually played the game a good amount.
That is
Surprisingly, Sasan is a car level 4, and I'm a car level 5. So I've
Oh,
played
wow.
a lot of Motorsport 7.
And this
But-
is more like actual races. It's not out in the streets wandering,
Nope.
right?
Yeah, these
This
are
is
real life
courses.
tracks, like
These are
real
cour-
world
okay.
tracks. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's a really, really fun game. If
Never
you
did
like
play
it.
amazing.
Motorsport. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
it's
it's beautiful,
so good.
and it's
like
not
don't
even
let like it being a sim scare you away because like you
Yeah.
can dial into that or dial out of that as much as you want.
Is there upgrades for
Yeah.
current gen stuff, current gen
It's
console?
Xbox One X, so it's basically it's native 4K at 60 frames per second. So they haven't done anything with Series X, but I don't know what else they could do. It's 4K
It's
at
top
60
of the
frames
line.
per second.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those-
So when
I
I'm
got those
playing it, I'm
whistles.
not going, this could look better. I'm going, this is the best
Are
it
you
can
sure?
look. Well, you know how I am.
You got me
but it-
convinced. I'm gonna try that. That sounds good. I've
It's
only
really
played the
good.
Forza
Fun game.
Horizon games. I never played Motorsport.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it actually really is a totally different game, especially jumping into it, or jumping back into it after I haven't played it in a little while, and being like, holy crap, this is more like strategic. Like you have to adjust how you drive, whereas Horizon, the tracks are all open. Like most of them are on fields and stuff like that, so you can slide out as far as you want. It doesn't
I
change.
like that.
But this This is more linear in a lot of areas, and your braking is more realistic. But like Kyle said, it's not punishing because you have difficulty settings. You can
You have
drop
so
this
many
difficulty
sliders.
level.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the big thing is the rewind option. Just like in Horizon, if you make a mistake, you can rewind it to get better at and learn from your mistake. That's why I use it. I'm like, okay, I got to learn how to brake in this game again.
I didn't take that corner like perfectly.
Yes.
Let me try it again.
And then it becomes almost like a rhythm game. This is what's
you
pretty
hit a
cool about it.
flow. 100% you hit
a
a flow. Yeah.
where you start memorizing the track without even realizing you memorized the track. So like I played for about an hour today. I didn't race any of the tracks again. So when I got into my flow, it was from when I previous played it like maybe 6 months ago, where I was like, I remember this track, and I started flowing with the rhythm of where you brake, when you accelerate and stuff like that. And then that's when I started driving really good. And I was like, okay, yeah, this feels good again. This feels real good.
And
So yeah, it's a fun.
You can put up markers that will tell you like where you need to brake, how hard you need to brake. Like it's very user friendly. It's super user friendly.
It's a fun game. It's different experience than Horizon, which it should be. I still prefer Horizon, but Motorsport is a fun, beautiful game. And I think that's pretty much it. I've been like trying to get into the PS5 games with Ghost and Assassin's Creed. I haven't been playing on PC much, and then on Xbox it's mainly been Destiny 2, Rocket League, Forza.
Oh, Destiny 2. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
They updated.
Which, by the way, they've got their new big expansion. I think that's also February, isn't it?
Something.
Yeah, February is
2022.
insane, man. February is going to be an absolutely crazy month. All right, and then the last thing I wanted to mention of stuff that we're playing is Psychonauts 2, of course, which is kind of the big, I was going to say Xbox game, but to be fair, it is available on both of the major current platforms because you can play the PS4 version on your PS5, and I imagine it's not like it looks ugly. Maybe if you did side by side, you could see the difference between the two. But anyway, all that to say, it is on Game Pass, and that's why I'm playing it on the PC, and I think it looks pretty fantastic. And it's got a very definitive art style. It's not going to be for everybody. Like if you don't love that Tim Burton kind of wacky,
I hate it.
Theme-like art style, I get it if you don't like
Shocker.
that style. But it
hate
is
it.
really well done. Like that whole first level, for example, it's all like dentistry and teeth based, and it's kind of disturbing,
Ugh.
especially
Kind of
when
icky. Yeah.
especially when you unzip like the doorways. It's
Don't like that.
pretty gross. Don't like that.
Well, the concept of Psychonauts, like getting into someone's brain, and then there's like the world in their brain of like
So-
whatever.
It's how they're
it's all
projecting
unique.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So
it's
creative.
Cool. Yeah.
Even the opening kind of, it makes you think you're doing something, and then you realize, oh, we're doing something else.
I didn't realize what was going on until like the ship was landing to kind of
a little
spoilers.
Inception.
And I was like, oh goodness, what a good opening.
It was a little Inception like, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's very funny. Like the dialogue is absolutely hilarious, man. Like it's so clever. Again, not a game for everybody, but if you like, honestly, it's got some very light RPG elements to it because you can upgrade all your attacks. It's platform action game, tons of collectibles, and a lot of that's optional as well. And it has a kind of an interesting story. They do a good job of summarizing the first game for you in the opening little video that they do. But the first game, also I think is pretty fun. But you don't need to play it. You can jump right into the second one, watch the opening cinematic, and then it literally, like the second game picks up the day after the events of the first game.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I like it a lot. Kyle, what are you thinking?
I'm loving it. Yeah, I like the first one quite a bit. You know, I don't know if it, it's not. I'm not one of these like guerrilla fans who are just like super like crazy about it. But like I always thought it was fun, and I really like Double Fine and stuff like that. Really unique. I really liked all like the elements of usage of like again, like Dan was saying, like you're going into someone's brain and it like looks projected from what they kind of feel or like or whatever. Right. I'm liking a lot of the mechanics already. Like pretty early on, like you're connecting trains of thought to like reprogram people's brain. Like it's super
Dude,
clever.
One of my favorite thing is the secrets you find in every level are these. It's emotional baggage. You have to find the tags to like properly get rid of them.
Right. So you're like cleaning out their demons and like it's just it's everything's so clever. I really like it.
Have a name like regret or something like doubt.
Yeah, regret or censor.
It's all like different emotions and different.
It's all different emotions and stuff like that. Yeah, bad idea. Was another bad guy. It's super clever. I think the writing in this game is so amazing, and like I'm literally sitting in my basement like laughing out loud. I'm just like,
Very fun.
yeah, I'm actually laughing, like not like ha ha ha, like literally laughing. I think it's very
Especially
funny.
the way these very seasoned Psychonauts who are good at this keep having you do all the hard work. Like, I'm gonna go look for an exit. You fight these guys. Like,
Yeah,
they always have some dumb reason to make you do all the work.
Yeah,
Raz
yeah.
is clearly special, right? Isn't I'm assuming he's like
he's like 10 or 8
Yeah,
or
but
something,
he's
and he's like a
brand new.
phenom.
And
yeah.
these two were like in comic books they're so like so well known. Like
superheroes almost.
They're these superhero Psychonauts, and they're like, you take care of these guys. I'll go look for an exit. It's like, what?
Yeah, right. You could stop all these guys like in a second. You would think.
It's pretty fun. I would say it's got good gameplay as far as like kind of 3D action platforming goes. I mean, I'm sure there's better games out there, but it's better than you'll get from a lot of kind of cartoony platform games. I think the combat's very, very good.
Enjoying all the powers and stuff like that.
Yeah, Tim Schafer is the Tim Burton of games.
Yeah.
Except
That's
like
correct.
he's still like is consistent, right? Whereas Tim Burton, some people think he's not as consistent anymore. So
He started making Alice in Wonderland movies, and it was never the same again.
The first game was centered around this camp that you went to as a kid, and then that's kind of like your home base, sort of. This one's got much more of a, and I feel like a lot of games and shows are doing this these days, a lot more of a hub where you are training and you are a part of a group, a secret society that's going and doing all these covert missions. I mean, Death's Door did this, Loki did this. I just feel like an Umbrella Academy, I don't know. I feel like a lot of shows and games have this concept of some secret society that has these super agents that then get sent out to do these crazy missions. And so it has a very similar setup there once you kind of get to the meat of the game and kind of see, okay, this is my hub where I do my upgrading and can pick what mission to go on and stuff like that. So I haven't gotten super far into it, but what I've played, I don't know, maybe an hour and a half or so. It's just really charming, really cool. I like it. I like it a lot. So
excellent.
All right. I see someone put down that they've been watching a Woodstock 99 documentary. What's this about?
That was Kyle.
Right? Oh, I didn't even. I guess Geoff put that down for me, thinking he was going to be on the podcast. I just watched it. It's really good. You know, we went
okay.
Well,
my wife wanted to watch it, so it was.
I think Geoff wanted to talk about it because he had seen it too.
Well, next week Jeff's going to talk all about the Bob Ross documentary. So this is going to be current documentary next week. That's
Go see that if y'all want to see like things fall apart very quickly for a lot of white, 19 to 23-year-old males. Go watch Woodstock 99. It's a very big treat.
Who doesn't want to watch that?
Yeah, I heard that was the
Fred
last.
Durst may or may not have incited a riot. I don't know. I'll let you guys decide.
But that was the last Woodstock, right? Like
it was the very There's never gonna be another one.
You know what? It was a shit show, much like the ending of How I Met Your Mother.
Oh, there it is.
There you go.
There it is.
And we're halfway there.
Yikes.
We gotta wrap it up with that.
That was
All
for
right,
Geoff.
cool. That was definitely for Geoff. All right, well that wraps us up for this week. Thank you guys for taking time. This was a fun one.
Yep.
Derek, you got me wanting to play Motorsport now, so I want to go download Motorsport and give that one a try.
On Game Pass.
On Game Pass. Dude, I hope you feel better. I know that you're still feeling the effects of the thing. Hopefully you didn't lose your taste and smell, right? You didn't lose that?
I lost it.
Oh, you did?
Whatever day we talked that I told you I didn't lose it, I hadn't eaten yet, and then when I went and ate, I was like, oh, I don't have taste. Thanks.
Is it still gone right now?
Jeez.
Yeah. I mean, like I bought like one of these like little pre-packaged spaghetti with meat sauce. I was really craving spaghetti, and I started eating, and I was like, wow, tastes like
That
warm
sucks.
noodles with no other flavoring.
My wife lost her taste when she got it last winter. She lost taste and smell for about 3
Oh,
days.
she lost taste like 20 years ago when she married you, bro.
Good one. That's a good one to end on. That was good.
Thanks. That was a top-notch zinger right there.
That was.
That was
they
really
talk
good.
about dad jokes. There's also dad disses, and that's what you all just heard.
Yeah, that was really good. So
That
she
was
lost lost her taste like 20 years ago. Did you hear that joke?
Yeah, I did. You're talking about me and about how I was a poor selection as a husband. I follow.
You got it.
I do get it.
All right,
I do.
cut the show.
Kyle and Dan are both totally checked out. All right, guys. Thanks for checking us out.
I'm just confused about whether he loves black women, hates black women. I don't know.
There's
You will
no way.
always be confused. I will always be a mystery.
Geoff, we miss you. See ya.